Well, looks like it's time, so let's go. Hello! I am still setting things up, and I've gotten distracted by trying to get something out of this little mold here. Because I want to use it. Come on. I, at one point, was going to try and do a bunch of, like, layered things in here. And so there's just a little tiny thing of resin that was in the very bottom of this. And I'm trying to get that out. See if I can... Aha! Just a second, it went flying across the room, but let me grab it so I can show you what it was. If I can find it. Where did it go? I don't know where it just went. Well, it was just some clear resin that had a bunch of, like, these little beads in them. Let me try and get those out. It escaped. It has... I'm sure I'll step on it later and it'll be mildly annoying. But it's decided that it doesn't want me to show it off apparently. I'm gonna take this off. I'm getting a little warm. How are you doing, Drevo? You having a good day? I'm thinking that this might be a slightly longer stream. We'll see. I have lots of little things to set up. So it might take a little bit longer. Tired but good. Oh, that's good. I mean, tired can be good or bad, I suppose. But good is good. There we go. Here's one that I can use. There's still a bunch of little like beads in here. I want to get some mushroom terrarium necklaces made. They're one that I've had, you know, in my shop for a while now. But I want to get some more of those made if I can. I made some fairly recently, and a couple of them didn't turn out quite right. I can show you. I have one of them, I believe, behind me. Get this last bead out of here before I forget about it and leave it in here. Just a second. Let me see if I can just grab it. Aha! I got it. And I can show you. They're just like these little tiny, random pieces of resin I had. Let's see if I can show you. Little tiny metal beads. Yeah, there you go. You can see that little tiny bead. There's a bunch of those in the bottom there. All right. So yeah, I made some recently. And the problem is that apparently there's a little bit of some sort of pigment that was left in the mold and I didn't realize, and so it ended up with like some pink there. You can kind of see the pink. Ended up with a little bit of pink in there, so not gonna finish this one up to sell, but we'll make some more, and I'll pay closer attention to the fact that my molds are clean, hopefully on the inside. But we've got lots of little individual things to make today. Let's see here. I'm gonna go through this list here. So I have a D20 that I need to make for a commission. Gonna make some necklaces. I don't know if I'll make that many. I'm gonna be making a bunch of individual dice, so just a bunch of like dice that are all different designs. That's yeah. They're all gonna be for the same thing, so they're all gonna kind of match, but they're all gonna be different. So I'm gonna be making 2d4. So 2d4, I think I want those to be down. 2d6, I think I want those to be up. I'm just going on my list here. 2d8, I want those to be down. So I have two different kinds of molds. I have ones with the highest number on the top and ones with the highest number on the bottom. And depending on the design that I want to do, I use different molds, so that it, like, I can always have like the prettiest side on the highest number, because I feel like if you're rolling, it should be like the best possible outcome if you get the highest number, and that includes the design in it too. So I'm just trying to decide whether each of these individually would work better with the highest number at the top or the highest number at the bottom of the mold. Let's see, D12, got those, making blank inserts for those. 2D2, want those to be down. I wonder if, does the person even have to be here for it to bonk? Because I haven't, you're here for exactly 1 minute. Do you need to drive home? Do you need to drive home? Okay, just that. And I need, I'm going to do, I think, a jumbo D20 if I have enough resin left over, so I'll pull that down, just in case. Ah, errands. Alas, alack. But you can stop by for half a minute to hopefully bonk Omar on the head. It's the important things. It's the important things. D8 down. And got these. Okay. Yeah, I've got all sorts of, as long as it's in the VOD. Yeah, as long as it's in the VOD, it counts. Okay. I'm going to be referring back to that, I'm sure. But let me go through, I think, everything that we're going to be doing. Because, it doesn't look like a lot. But it's all sorts of random things. So, beep, beep. All right. Make evil dice for Christmas. All right, have fun with your errands. So we're going to be doing a D20, which is a commission. We're going to be doing 2D4, which are going to be kind of in similar colors to that, which is why I'm trying to do ones that are kind of in similar colors. These are going to be for the, well, my plan is to do dice advent calendars this year. So at the, with the November restock, my plan is to have 2 advent calendars for sale that, then you get a die every day up to Christmas in December. But I'm not making all of the dice today because that's 3 sets worth of dice, and I'm making 2 advent calendars, so that'd be 6 sets worth of dice, and they're all different. So I spent a lot of yesterday plotting out what all dice I wanted to make, which I have a list. You can see my scribbled list here. I also have it on the computer, but my list here of all the different dice I want to make, and then figuring out in kind of what order I want to make them. Not exactly what order, but like these ones are going to be all kind of similar colors because I feel like it's going to be easiest to make them if I pair them up that way. Otherwise, I'll just get stuck and be like, I don't know what I'm making. Okay, so D20s. We're going to do 2 D4s, which are going to be in kind of similar colors to the D20, or I might just use the exact same colors. We're going to have, this is why I needed this out. So the 2D6, these ones I'm going to be doing half dark blue, and that's it. My plan is to then paint a star in there and then do the other set half clear. These D12s, these are blank D12s, so they don't have numbers. They're just slightly smaller. I don't know why I'm showing that part. They don't have numbers on them. They're just slightly smaller than my other dice, so I can make blanks and then paint them or do whatever I want to them and then put them into the molds, and you'll have a little bit of a barrier between whatever this is and the die itself, the outside of the die. So we're just going to be doing dark blue on that as well. And I'll be adding some stuff in between the blank and then the outside of the die. Let's see. Oh, I forgot the D8s. D8s are right here. D8s, I'm just going to do a swirl of white and blue mica. And the D2s are also going to be kind of a swirl of white and blue, but they're going to be having some, oh my gosh. I have a cat outside that's very unhappy. He's fine. He's just very unhappy. I don't know. I feel like I could use some sort of ideas for keeping him entertained. He has so much energy. He's such a high energy cat. He gets bored so easy. Yeah, 2D2. So I think the D8s might be a slightly darker blue with the white, and the D2 might be, oh, actually I might do that. I might do it backwards, I don't know. But I have, find my snowflakes here. So I have silver and copper snowflakes here. And I think I have, yeah, I have some gold snowflakes in there. Those are all gears. I think that's all of my snowflakes. I think that's all of them. Unless I'm, yeah, that's little honeycomb pieces. I'm just double checking. Just double checking what all I have. This is all moons and stars and stuff, which could be cool for something. And this is all various geometric shapes. Okay. So I've got little snowflakes here. I do need to decide if I want to do gold or if I want to do silver. I was thinking I was going to do the silver snowflakes with the D12. So these are going to be the blank inserts, and then I would attach these to the outside of the insert. Maybe do some like little spots of silver, and then put those into the die. So I'd have silver snowflakes kind of floating in there. But I could do the silver snowflakes. My bench is creaking so much. So I think maybe the gold ones for the D2s. That might be better. Do I just have the one design of gold? Just have the one, here, just a second. Do I just have one snowflake shape in the gold? I might just have the one shape though in the gold, and I have multiple shapes in the silver. Oh my gosh, I can't get. There we go. Yeah, I think I just have the one. Yeah, I just have one shape in the gold snowflakes. It looks like. I've got other things in here. There's butterflies and hearts and that sort of thing, but just the single snowflake shape. But I still might do these because I feel like they might stand out better with the. I don't know. Well, I have both of them out, and we'll decide in a minute which one we want to do for the D2. I just want to make sure that I have everything laid out here. Why do I have a D6? I think this was in the wrong spot. I was trying to grab a D8. I need a D8. Okay, there's a D8. I really need to go through these. Some of these are getting kind of old. This is an older mold. Older mold! So I've got a few Christmas dice already made. I made them last year for Christmas, and then I went through... he's still out there being sad. I went through them all and, okay, which ones of these do I actually want to, like, keep the designs of? And so I have a few. And one of them, like, most of them I had two of each, but one of them I just had one, so we're going to make another one of a red candy cane swirl. And then I want to start on making more Minecraft dice. I made some little Minecraft blocks as D6s for a dice trade, and posted a photo of them online, and have had so many people say that they want Minecraft dice. So I actually went and looked it up, and apparently you can sell like Minecraft fan art, so I'm assuming that it would fall under that in certain quantities and stuff. So I'm gonna make some. But for that, I'm going to make some blank D6s that kind of look like dirt. I did this one already. I don't know if this one's going to be too dark, though. This one might be a little bit dark. I'm not sure. I might try and go a little bit lighter than this one. Actually, this one I think might be fine once it's in the clear resin. Because it's kind of matte at the moment, and I think that's making it not as bright as it will be. But anyways, I'm gonna make some more little dirt cubes, which I'll then paint. So I've got my blank D6s out. All right, I think I'm just thinking about this. Yeah, I think we're gonna have plenty of resin. We're gonna have plenty of resin. Okay. It's a long list on my page, and so I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so many things here. I don't know if I'll have enough resin for everything, but no, there should be plenty of resin. It's probably going to take a little bit more resin to do these sets of dice than it would normally take, and that's because I'm going to be making a little bit of extra of each one, as opposed to like a little bit of extra of for a whole set of dice, but we should still have plenty. Okay, let's go through these and get everything set up. I think probably easiest, because I have the design already figured out, is going to be the little mushroom necklaces. So, oh man, I started stacking things on top of my polymer clay stuff over here, which is a mistake. I need to redo my shelves maybe. Let's see here. So I need some little mushrooms. So there's one. Oh, do I need to make some more mushrooms? I might need to make some more mushrooms. I've got some of these though, so I'll pull out a single one there. I think this one is small enough that it'll work. I have some other mushrooms here. You can see I have some more here, but I think that's pretty close. Might be a little bit smaller. They were just a little bit too big. The cap part was a little bit too big, so they like air couldn't get past them. I might steal. Let's see here. I guess I could do these. But let's see. Let me do some little mushroom clusters, and I want to figure out a bunch of like varying heights and stuff, because that just looks better. Apparently it doesn't matter if you're actually in the chat or not. Yeah, hi, well, first of all, hi, Omar. Yeah, no, Jen stopped by a little bit ago and had to rush off, but announced her presence by bonking you on the head. So, I don't know if either of you won, since neither of you, I think, were here while the other person did it, but Fitz is so sad. He's so sad that he's inside for the night. I need ideas for things for cat enrichment, cause you win. All right, sure. But no, I need ideas for cat enrichment, cause he is such a sad kitty cat. He's such a sad kitty cat. He sounds so sad. You'd think he just has so much energy, I think. Oh, wait. I found them. They were in a little container here that I apparently forgot about. So let's grab a couple of those. We'll make 2 of those, I think. That sounds good. But yeah, I have like everything stacked on top of here. We'll just stack that back. It's fine. We'll just keep everything stacked up there. I need to reorganize. I need to clean my workspace. I'm doing good. I'm working on one of those projects. I don't know. When there's like a lot of steps to a project, my brain's always like flustered. And so the dice that we're making today are kind of like that. My brain's just kind of like, oh my gosh, there's so many steps. I don't know what part to work on first. So I'm a little bit like that at the moment, but I'm trying to assuage that by just working on making something that I know how to make first. So we're just gonna make a bunch of these little terrarium necklaces first, because I know how to make these. I've done plenty of these. I'm tempted to keep these, I don't know, I'm tempted to keep them like in my Etsy. I don't know. So I don't know whether it would be beneficial to me or not to leave like a single product on Etsy so that people do find my shop and then it leads them to my external shop, or if people will even see, like if that'll even lead traffic there or not. What's today? I mean Wednesday, but is it Talk Like a Pirate Day? Did I forget Talk Like a Pirate Day again? I'm going to be very sad if it's Talk Like a Pirate Day. Oh dear. For 5 months in a row, you're ridiculous is one word. You're single-handedly keeping my Twitch channel afloat. It was funny. So I have long made fun of the ad revenue that I get from Twitch. You're my favorite. It's okay to say it. Well, thank you for resubscribing. I do really appreciate it. It's very sweet of you. But no, I have made fun of the ad revenue from Twitch before, just because it was really funny. Like, I think the first month that I did Twitch, I got like 10 cents in ad revenue or something like that. And so it was just really funny to me. Just like, man, I'm really making bank with Twitch with my 10 cents of ad revenue. What is in here? There's a piece of resin in here. Ah, there we go. We got it out. And then I actually went and looked the other day. So I don't know. I always find like the random statistics and stuff interesting, which I probably shouldn't look at that stuff. You know, it's one of those things which is just like, it's probably not good to actually like look at that. But I don't know. I always like data. I've always liked spreadsheets and trying to find patterns and things and that sort of stuff. But I was like, oh man, I've made like $30 since January. That's more than I thought. It was kind of funny. I think I mentioned it to a couple of friends because they're the ones that I had really joked about it with the 13 cents in ad revenue. That's just like, man, I could buy myself a cup of coffee every month with that. Alright, let's see here. So I'm just adding a little bit of moss to all of these. We're going to add a different kind of moss in a minute, but I'm adding the kind of little tiny moss first. Also, Fitz is still outside my door screaming, being very unhappy. He's very unhappy. But, I mean, what's new? He's always very unhappy, it seems like. I don't know. He's just so high energy. I need stuff for him to do. I need rainy day activities for my cat. That's what it is. I need rainy day activities for my cat. Because he's always been really high energy. So I'm trying to get things to kind of stay down at the bottom. He's always been really high energy. That's kind of what drew me to him a little bit to begin with. So you know, there's no one to blame but me. I did this to myself. But as a kitten, when they had like all of the kittens out so that they could clean their enclosures, their cages. And there was like a glass wall, and then, you know, the door was closed. All the kittens were out. And mostly, you know, they were kittens, and there's some cats there too, and they were like playing and stuff. And he was zipping back and forth across the room. Just so full of energy, running back and forth. So excited about it. He was like chasing a ball or something. But he's always been high energy. So, you know, it's like, I should have known. There's no one to blame but myself. But he's just still high energy. It's funny, he's the oldest of my cats, and he's probably the most kittenish. Like, my brother and I both agree that he is the most kittenish out of all of the cats, despite being the oldest. Because he's just, I don't know. just has so much energy. So I don't know. I need something for him to do that will keep him entertained. That's not trying to play with the other cats necessarily, because Koshi might play with him, but he doesn't seem as interested in playing with Koshi, and the other two don't want to play with him. Like, I've been having lots of instances recently of having to break up. Well, they don't have fights necessarily, but if he gets like close to not, she'll just start growling. Just like, something's not good here. I don't know if he's just bad. You just rediscovered a band thanks to a random poster tube that rolled under your desk. Ooh, what is it? I'm looking for music recommendations. Because I like putting on music while I sand things. So, I am looking for new stuff to listen to. I can only listen to Panic at the Disco so many times while I sand things. Well, I mean, I guess I could listen to them more, but don't need to. Sorry, what band? But yeah, I don't know. So I'm trying to think on that. I did get him a feather boa day before yesterday, because he always used to love those, and he still does, but it didn't keep him entertained really. He wasn't that entertained by it. He's just like, okay, cool. I don't know, maybe he needs a ball to chase around the house or something. He does love playing fetch. And he's more than happy to just get attention, but the Karma Killers, they opened for someone you went to see in like 2015-16, but you like their sound. Oh, okay. I'm writing them down. Cool. I will check them out. Yeah, I got a few music recommendations from folks, because I was just like, man, I need some new music to listen to while sanding. I feel like, I don't know, I like all sorts of different kinds of music, but I feel like rock music maybe and that sort of stuff I like the best, or rock or like pop or something that's a little bit, that's not chill when I'm sanding, because I can't really hear it all that well when I'm using the sanding wheel. So it's just nice to like be able to get enough of it to kind of understand what's going on. And I feel like chill music doesn't really do that as much, because it's not necessarily, it's quieter, but it's also like not as, doesn't have as much of a beat to it. So when I'm trying to just kind of half listen to something, I'm mostly getting like the beat and maybe the chord changes. I feel like that's easier with like pop or rock or something like that. But listening to the words are right out. I guess that's what it is. All right, I'm just putting all the little mushrooms in. Let me try and get them to the right spot in here. I don't want like the thing to be like off to the side completely. I want it to actually be covered by the moss and the dirt if I can. What does a German Shepherd do? I don't know. What does a German Shepherd do, Enchilada? Dare I ask? I'm assuming that it's, you can tell I'm a cat person. Oh, hi, Fatty G. You can tell I'm a cat person because my herd sheep. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, because my first thought was not the kind of dog, but a shepherd that was German. So I was fully expecting some sort of pun that had to do with a shepherd that was German. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Yep. I mean, the joke is that you're supposed to think of the dog, but I just didn't. My brain was just thinking about cats, which is, you know, that's one of the 3 things that it oscillates between. It's either cats or dice or whatever my most recent, well, at this point, Minecraft. It's one of those 3 things. I'm trying to get the mushrooms in here to kind of spread out a little bit. And also not have cat hair in there. I don't need cat hair in there. What's that doing? Oh, you guys have good days today? I did a whole bunch of sanding. That's kind of my, I have kind of a regular schedule. And that's my normal, like, Wednesday and Saturday thing is streaming and sanding. It's I guess it's the, I don't know. It's the day for words that start with S. Social media too. Yeah. Wednesday social media sanding and streaming. I should change it from Twitch to streaming, and I can just have all of the S's on my to-do list, on my calendar. Just trying to push those down into. Okay, cool. We've got those all made. Let's have our little tiny mushrooms in there. We set those off to the side, and those will just have clear resin. We'll probably do those kind of first. A cat that is also a die would be one of the most unpredictable things in reality. You know, maybe I should clean up the cat hair dice at some point. I still have the set of cat hair dice that we made on stream. And a cat outside that's very unhappy. He's outside the door, being very unhappy. Just a second. There you go. Yeah, full of cat hair. Maybe I should clean these up at some point. They're just in my box over here of ones that I do not plan to sell. I don't think anyone needs a set of dice with my cat's hair in them. Alright, cool. We've got those figured out. He's so very unhappy. I'm going to leave this out. I'm going to leave that out. Because I think we're going to use a little bit of that to make more dirt cubes. It's not actually dirt, this is coffee grounds, but I think we're going to use that to make some more, help color it and add a little bit of texture. Alright, let's figure out the rest of our dice. So, we've got our D20, which is a commission one. And we're going for a dice that was shaped like a cat, or a cat cube. Not a dice made of cat. I mean, fair. Oh, you know, that's something I could do with the wouldn't that be cute with the blank inserts if I did, like, a blank insert and then, like, painted the little cat face on it? He's so unhappy. Should I let the cat in for a second? This is how I end up with cat hair and everything. Come here, buddy. Come say hi. Come here. Hi. No, buddy, I'm not following you. He doesn't actually want in. He doesn't actually want in. He wants me to come follow him. I opened the door and he went running off. Just like, are you coming with me? He's such a silly boy. And now he's back. Okay. Fitz, I'm streaming. Oh boy. Alright, so the D20, we're going to do a kind of a pearlescent white with a little bit of gold foil in it. That's the plan. He wants the option of going in, but not actually. No, I think he just wants me to follow him. He, one of his favorite things is to get pets while he's at the food dish upstairs. And so I bet if I followed him, he would lead me to the upstairs food dish. Or the cat food dish. That would be my guess. That's what he wants, but okay, so I think that'll work. I think that'll be good. I can almost guarantee it that that's what he wants. So we're gonna go with that. That's a silky white. This adds kind of a white shimmer, and then I think I might grab our macro pearl, which is just a little bit of kind of a glittery shimmer. So, oops, what is that one? I was debating doing some of the interference gold, but I don't know. I'm trying to apply logic to a cat. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, the brief for this one was pearlescent white and gold. So, I've been given free range, which is dangerous. That's not the right one. Where's the sparkly one that I want? There it is. So we're gonna do kind of a mix of these two. So you can see there's kind of the glittery one and there's kind of the shimmery one. And then I might even add a little bit of white ink as well. Maybe not that one, but this one. Because I don't want it to be like super opaque, because I want to be able to see the gold foil in there. We're just going to add a little bit of gold foil so it's just like a little bit of like a surprise. A little bit of you just see a little bit of it. I was debating doing a little bit of interference gold, which is, it looks kind of white and then it shimmers gold. It's always hard to show on camera. Like, it looks kind of off-white there, but it's white and then when you have the light hit it, it's gold. But I feel like that might be too much almost. I feel like we're going to get more contrast between the pearl and the gold foil if we just do it this way. If the person that is getting this shows up, I'll double check with them, but that's where I'm at. I think we're going to not... Shout out to spilling water all over my desk. Hey! Fun. So I think that's good for that. Oops. So we're gonna set this over here. This is also, I think I'm just gonna use this same combination for these D4s. So we're gonna do that D20 and then we're gonna do these D4s in that same pearlescent white with gold foil, because I think that'll look nice. Yeah, so these, the dice that I'm making today are gonna be for you know, just someone to go like slurp up all the water off your desk. I was gonna try and make slurping sounds with my tea. It didn't work out very well. Partially because I have loose leaf tea in here, and so I would just end up with like a mouthful of tea leaves, which isn't what I'm going for. Okay, so we've got those figured out. We've got that figured out. It's not. It's a very chunky whiskey if it's whiskey, because it's mango black tea. Yes, it's just very chunky whiskey, I guess. One of these days it'll be whiskey, just to throw you off. Okay. Got that. The D6 and the blank D12s are going to have dark blue. Here, I'm just gonna leave my things over here. So I think I'm gonna be using kind of a royal blue. And that day you'll call it tea. I mean, I was thinking more like I just wouldn't tell you. Oh, actually, I think we might use, let's see, you made tea using garden-grown chamomile and Persian basil blossoms. It's your new favorite tea. Ooh. I'm not a huge fan of chamomile myself, but that sounds really good. Like, I feel like fresh ingredients are always the best for things. I was thinking I'd use the royal blue, but I think actually I'm going to use this ultramarine blue. It's just so dark. It looks probably, you can kind of see the blue on camera. It looks almost black, but it's a really, really deep blue, and I think that'll be nice. So I'll need to go grab that. But that does at least tell me what I'm going to do. And these ones are going to be kind of boring. It's just going to be solid blue blank D12s and then half blue D6s. So nothing super interesting there. Okay, what's next here? D8. White and blue mica drops. So both the D8 and the D2s here, I want to be kind of swirl, like peachy or swirl type ones. The D8, when I have it just listed as white and blue mica drop. I'm thinking I'm going to be using white alcohol ink, and then some sort of blue mica. And I haven't really decided which blue mica. So let me pull out my blue micas here. And we can kind of decide. Because I was thinking I would do like a light blue. I'm rethinking some things. I was originally thinking I would do a light blue and a light blue sort of drop. You don't have a favorite color because opalescence isn't considered an option. Ooh, but it's so pretty though. I don't see why that isn't considered an option. Just say whatever you want. I have oddly specific favorite colors, but okay. It's not one color. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. My brother's kind of like that. He's like, yeah, my favorite color is like beetle wing green, where it's like multiple colors at once. It's just like, I mean, fair. Okay. So I was originally going to do a lighter blue with the D2. Technically, green isn't one color. That's true, too. Yeah, if you say your favorite color is green, that's a wide variety of things. And I was going to do the D2 with like a lighter blue and then like a silver snowflake. But I think if I'm going to do silver snowflakes in the D2s, I'm going to want to do a darker blue. And in that case, I think I'll do the lighter blue in the D8. So I'm thinking, I think actually this light blue, because it's kind of a frostier color, I think. It's a little bit cooler. I can't hold on to things. It's a little cooler toned, I think, than some of these, and it's light. So I think this for the D8, which will also be with the white alcohol ink, so that's just going to be kind of like a mica drop. Never mind, my favorite color is black body radiation. Oh gosh. And then the D2s, I'm going to do silver and then I think a darker blue. I think normally I would do this one, but this one's very similar and I actually have set aside for resin stuff. This one's actually technically part of my my soap supplies, so we'll just save that for soap and do this one, which is very similar. I need to get some more, that's this one. Yeah, that one. I really like phthalo blue. That's probably one of my favorites. It's kind of like a purpley blue. I've tried to understand black body radiation before I regretted it. I don't remember what black body radiation is, which is, I feel like I should know that because of where I live, but my grandfather was I think he was a radio engineer. Pretty sure he was a radio engineer. Not building radios, but working with radiation. Something like that. Yes. Got all so many pretty colors. I like pretty colors. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna do that there and the light blue here. Alright, let's see, what else do I have left? So the D8 here, I'm going to do just a kind of simple, do I have the thing? Radio engineers put engines in radios, Liz, duh. Yeah, that sounds right, that sounds right. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I have it on here. We're going to make like a candy cane swirl D8, because I only have the one. I only have the one candy cane swirl D8. So we're going to make another one. I've got the red, and we're going to mix it with a little bit of white to make it opaque, and then we'll do some white alcohol ink to do the swirls. Just the first sentence of its description on Wikipedia confuses you. Man, now I'm gonna have to Google this just to see if my small brain can comprehend what it means, because I'm technically a science major. Make me Google things. Okay, what is black body radiation? This is, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess I am the person that was having a conversation with my brother fairly recently about how black holes exist in a four-dimensional space. So, I mean, okay, let me look up what black body radiation is, because I don't remember. Black body radiation. Okay, let's see. Black body radiation is the thermal electromagnetic radiation within or surrounding a body in thermodynamic equilibrium with its environment, emitted by a black body, an idolized, opaque, non-reflective body. Okay, just a second. Let me see if I can break this down. So, thermal electromagnetic radiation within or surrounding a body. Okay, so has a specific spectrum of wavelengths inversely related to intensity that depend only on the body's temperature, which is assumed for the sake of calculations theory to be uniform and constant. So the thermal radiation spontaneously emitted by many ordinary objects can be approximated as black body radiation. So it's basically like, so radiation is like any sort of thing that's expelled sort of thing, but oh, so it's basically is it just like the color waves basically? Is it like color that is caused by temperature? I need to read more on this. I'll study black body radiation later. Sorry, I'm sure I just lost a whole bunch of people while I tried to figure out what black body radiation was for 5 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna make a D8 here that's red. So we'll do that. I mean, I much prefer doing arts and crafts to theoretical physics, which I guess technically I've done. There's a different cat outside my door now that is scratching at it. I guess technically I've done theoretical physics. I did partially, I didn't cheat, but that stuff, once things start moving near the speed of light, stuff gets weird. And the thing is, like, you do actually need to know that for certain careers. Like satellites and stuff, trying to figure out how time is different on a satellite that is going around the Earth as opposed to here. You do actually have to account for certain things. The change in gravity can make it so that its time is slightly off and that sort of stuff. But I never planned to do that. I finally got to the point in the physics semester or quarter, I can't remember. And both me and my other friend were just like, this is fascinating and I really don't care about calculating it. I really don't want to have to calculate this stuff. I don't care that much about it. But yeah, no, once things start moving near the speed of light, there was a whole thing where if you were on the train that was traveling near the speed of light, one thing happened, and then if you were observing the train that was traveling near the speed of light, a different thing happened. It was very confusing. It was very strange. It was just like if you calculate it, depending on where you calculate a certain thing from, it was different. But anyways, that's me talking my science major, apparently. We can get into different size infinities at a different point. Let's get back to dice making for now. I don't know, I'm that person that likes doing proofs. So, okay, I think we've got everything pretty much figured out. This is actually, I think, going to be not as bad as my brain was telling me with all of the different pieces. I don't think we're going to do gold snowflakes today. We'll use those some other time. We're going to do silver ones. Physics doesn't interest you in ordinary environment, but as soon as it's used in a fictional work, it makes you deeply invested. That's fair. That's fair. I feel like, especially if things are... Yeah, okay, so is the color that radiates off of a mass based off of its temperature, because the mass itself isn't the color that the heat is radiating. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So it's kind of like when you heat up metal and stuff, and that sort of color that comes off of it. The metal's not necessarily that color, but the temperature kind of is. things get weird. Okay, let me put these away. And let me grab the one more color that I need that is also one of my soap colors. I do think, so the plan is to make soap on Saturday's stream. I need to clean up the table behind me because it's a mess. Let me grab this color and then I'll continue with what I'm saying. Alright, so I think we're gonna make soap. I need to get some soap made. Because, and this is it's all subject to how COVID's looking. But there's a holiday bazaar that I've done in past years, and I feel like soap's gonna be more popular with that demographic than dice. So I'm gonna make some resin jewelry, make some soap, and sell that sort of stuff at the bazaar. I'll still bring dice, of course, but you know, I feel like I do like making soap, so it'll be nice to actually get to make some and hopefully get rid of some of it. And then if I have any left over, it'll go onto my site. But okay, I've got this color. I do need to grab the stuff for the D. Oh, I got like the hiccups now. D6 is here, so I have maybe some strange stuff that I use to make kind of a dirt texture. We're gonna use some coffee grounds and some cumin and a little bit of cinnamon. There's my secret recipe for making dirt. For these, I just use the coffee grounds, but if I want like a more opaque color, I add the cinnamon, and if I want a slightly lighter color with a little bit more texture to it, I add the cumin. Something just, oh, all right. Okay, let me set these off to the side. I'm gonna need to grab little mixing cups for all of these, but I'm gonna make sure I have everything lined up first. I think the last thing that I'm going to make, oh, why did things get, oh, no, I'm not closing Twitch. My browser's just like, hey, this is using a lot of energy at the moment. You should close this tab. I'm like, I'm not closing Twitch. Okay, last thing I think I want to do, because I think we'll have plenty of resin for it, is a jumbo D20. Should I do a jumbo D20? You know, I think I might not do a jumbo D20. I think I'm going to do instead a set of fate dice. And the reason for that is this takes 20 milliliters or so. The jumbo D20 takes about 25. And since I have so many little things, I want to make sure that I have enough resin. Also, if I do this, I could probably do a few keycaps too. Not that, I don't know, I'm still figuring out the keycaps. I think I should probably lower the price on those. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a plan for those though. What do I have for fake dice coming up? Let me look. So, oh yeah, I could definitely do some fake dice because I've got pinkish ones, I've got orangish ones, I've got green, I've got like white and blue. So let's maybe do a set of purple ones. I think I have like a pink set that are going to be in the shop, and I don't know what the other set are. But let's do purple. Let's do purple. So we're going to grab some purple mica. I'll do something with, oh, no, you know what we'll do? We're going to do, I'm going to try out, a sort of different design almost. Every once in a while I have like I have used D4 molds as dump molds. I think I'm going to start doing D6s. And then I end up with something that I think looks really cool. I thought this one looked kind of cool. It has like a kind of black swirls around this. It looks pink, but then it has like a, yeah, you can kind of see that it has like a blue shimmer to it. So I think it might be cool to do something kind of like that. So let's try doing that with those. I was debating doing maybe a multi-chrome, but let's see if we can just replicate this. Okay. I was hiking one time and you found a rock that was flaking off as a fine sand. Was it like mica? Oh, it was a deep orange with a little red in a big pile. You collected something because you love the color. Flaking off as a fine sand or shale or... That's interesting. Deep orange with a little red. Did you ever find out what it was? That sounds interesting. Alright, we're gonna do this. And a little bit of this. Now I'm using a bag of it. That's cool. I'm that same way. I'm just like, I like this thing. I'm just going to hold on to it. And then I have a whole bunch of random crap everywhere. Alright, so we're going to do, I think, clear resin with a little bit of a gold shimmer. No. To be fair, if it's a stone, it probably would not work out well. It'd be a little too heavy. I just had my neighbor offer me some metal shavings to put in resin, and I'm just like, probably not for dice, but it might be cool for something else. So I guess we'll have to figure out what to do with that. Maybe jewelry. I could probably make some cool necklaces that have like, that was originally the plan over here. I was going to do something with a whole bunch of layers. So it might be cool to do like some necklaces that have like some layers of like metal shavings and then different colors and things. Okay. I think that is everything. So let's get our little mixing cups and get our things. Oh, wait. When you mixed it with water, it made the water very cloudy for a long time till it settled. What if you fill up the mold with metal shavings and make a heavy metal dye? Oh, heavy metal dye. That, to be fair, that might work. I think maybe I'd put it into the blank inserts because I don't want to end up with any of the metal like on the outside of the die, but that actually might work if I get it compact enough. Yeah. I just had an idea here. So I tried making some eyes fairly recently, and I think I know why it didn't work, and so we're going to remake these, and I have an idea. Okay, I just had a sudden thought on what I need to do to make that better. So we're gonna make a redo on those. Yes, okay. Yes. Let me actually grab my mixing cups here. So we need one to go with the white, and it's going to be like a pearlescent white. Okay. You know, I have 22 cast iron window weight from the 1930s. You also like to collect things. That is really interesting. Yeah, I'm curious what kind of rock that is. I can see if I can find out for you. Are you in the Discord, Enchilada? You're helping renovate a 1930s hospital? Ooh, that's interesting. That's cool. All right, let me start mixing this up. So this is gonna be the pearlescent white. I bet you're finding all sorts of interesting stuff. I don't know, that's, whenever it's like something like that, it's just like, there's always just strange things you find everywhere. Okay, so this is going to be D20 and the D4. So let me think about how much resin I'm going to want here. So I don't need this to be super packed with pigment. Probably about 5 milliliters for the D20, and then, so we'll say probably about 10 milliliters maybe? That might be, probably not even that much, but about 10 milliliters. Let's add a little bit more of this. Because I do want it to look pearlescent. Okay. If you don't mind my asking, what sort of stuff do you do? Do you do like contract work or something like that? Because it does sound cool. Ah, it's mad at me again that my that Twitch is taking energy. No, I'm still not closing Twitch. Why is it doing this to me? You got a piece of dry bread in the bag. You can tell it's 1930s because of the brand. That's the thing with, like, you have a contractor. Oh, okay. I feel like that's the thing with bread is, like, so sometimes it'll go moldy. Sometimes it just goes stale. And, like, when it goes stale, it just, like, dries out. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. Does anyone else notice that I say interesting instead of interesting? I don't know. Sorry, I'm thinking this is completely unrelated. This is so long behind a wall. Oh, gosh. Oh, dear. Oh, I'd already grabbed a thing for that. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to grab a little bit of gold foil here. Sorry, I was thinking about dialects and language. I think we'll just add this bit of gold foil, and that should be plenty, because I just want a little bit, and I want it in kind of small pieces. I think that'll get broken up into the small pieces pretty well. Older than your father was tempted to take a bite. Alright, so there's that. We've got our pearlescent white and our gold foil, and we have a little bit of gold ink if we need it. These ones are going to be this dark blue, so let's add this to a mixing cup. I think I have a mixing cup that I used with this dark blue right here. So we'll use it again with this dark blue. It's not even super important that I clear it out, because it's just going to all be this color anyways. Man, I was just thinking about bread now too. Fresh bread's so good. She's like, maybe I'll go have toast after this, but I just ate spaghetti. I literally just had spaghetti. I scarfed down some spaghetti right before streaming. It's like, I'm not all that hungry at the moment. Also, if I want more food, I could go have more spaghetti. Sometimes you just want to know how it tastes, even if you know how old it is, and you can imagine how it tastes. But you want to know for sure. I know. Yeah, there's certain things where it's just like, man, I know that this is a bad idea, but I just want to know. It's like that time I convinced my brother to lick an anvil when it was below freezing. It was just like, yes, I convinced him, but also part of it was just that he wanted to know. He knew it was a bad idea, but he wanted to know. Alright. That's, Also, yes, your tongue will stick to metal when it's below freezing. Just stay, just so you guys are aware. Wasn't super happy about that one. Okay, so this is going to be 2d12s and like half of the d6s. So 2.5. This will probably be about 10 as well, I think. Because the d12s take a bit. Yeah, probably about 10. So let's make sure we add enough of that it'll be somewhat opaque. I think if we need a little bit more color, we'll add the royal blue. If it ends up looking like it's not pigmented enough, maybe we'll add some of that liquid pigment instead. Curiosity can kill a cat, but it can also make a fuss. Well, I think curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Isn't that the saying? Just like, yes, it may have killed the cat, but it was satisfied enough with knowing the answer that it brought it back. Never heard that one? Ah. Maybe that's not a widespread thing. I don't know. I've heard that before though. Curiosity killed the cat, satisfaction brought it back. Okay, let's see here. All right, so this one's going to be kind of a mica drop. So we're going to have, so I want this one to be icy. And I've got my light blue here. I think, let's do clear resin. Doesn't a cat have 9 lives anyway? True, it does. Let's do a clear resin, I think, with a little bit of silver foil and maybe a little bit of shimmery white, just a little bit. So let me grab this. I think this one will work well. So this is going to have clear resin for the most part with those, and then it'll have, oh, excuse me, it'll have this. That's going to be the light blue. The window weights are just cast iron rods. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. What are window weights for? I'm assuming they're for weighing down a window in some way, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess what are window weights? How are those used? My brain was supplying me with fishing weights when you first said it, but now that you've said it again, I'm just like, wait, no, windows. I'm assuming it's for an older style of window. I should probably replace some of my windows at some point. I still have single pane. I have some double pane windows, but like the bedrooms all have single pane windows. Alright, so there's this for the blue. You know, I think maybe I'm gonna make a note. Okay, making a note. I want to make some dice with all of the scrap resin that I have at some point. So we'll make. Oh, we're not using this one. This one has a hole in it. Definitely not using this one. I'll just grab a new mixing cup. That'll be easier, anyways. If I can find my mixing cups. Where's my mixing cups? Come here, mixing cups. Huh. Well. Huh. Where did my little mixing cups go? Well, this one will work. All right, cool. So we're gonna do okay. I'm thinking about how much resin I need again. This is probably gonna be like 5 milliliters maybe at most, and this will be 2.5. This doesn't even need to be 2.5. This could be less than 2.5. So I really don't need a lot of this, but I am going to be adding. There's kind of almost like a minimal amount of resin that I can add, just because, you know, it gets difficult to. I'll grab some more stir sticks too. All of these are gunky over here. And I've got stir sticks. Haha, stir sticks. I will read that in just a moment. Let's see. They are put in the wall with a rope attached to it. The rope goes on a pulley to the outside that is attached to a window. Oh, to counterbalance it so it's held up when it's opened. Oh, that makes sense. So instead of propping it open like with something underneath, it's holding it open from the top. That makes sense. I feel like that is more work than just propping it up from underneath, but can't fault the ingenuity. All right, so this one's going to be light blue. Like I said, I'm going to be doing hopefully less than 2.5 milliliters of this, but we'll still add a little bit of this because I just want to make sure. I want this to be have enough mica in it that it does actually sink. That's the main thing here. Where do I want to set these things so they're out of my way? Trying to set these out of my way. Okay. So there's that. They're very heavy, and there are 4 per window. Oh. So probably pretty heavy windows then, too. if it's there to counterbalance it as well. Okay, so I just want a little tiny bit. There we go. There's our little tiny bit of the shimmering resin. And then we're going to add some of our silver foil. I've never heard about those before, though. That's really cool. I always like learning about new things like that. This is completely unrelated to that. So for people that don't know my life story, I was going to university and then I got a job full-time, so I came back to the city that I'm from, that I grew up in, and then quit that job to finish my degree a little bit later on. But so I went to university for like 1.5 years, got a job, came back, worked full-time while going to school part-time, and then quit my job so that, like 5 years after that, so that I could finish my degree. Anyways, and then I ended up here. But when I was leaving university, one of the things that I'm very sad, like one of the few things that I regretted, was that I never got to take the, there was one class that I signed up for, and it was a higher level architecture class, and it was all about sound, like building sound design. I'm trying to think of what that's called. Oh, what is it called? It was basically just all about how sound works in building things, buildings, and I was very excited to take that because I thought that was going to be so cool. I don't know, stuff like that is just like, yeah, that's really cool. I want to know more about that. I'm just adding a little bit of silver foil. That's a little bit too much, I think. We'll add that piece. Okay. I don't want too much. I don't want too much silver foil. Or I think you won't be able to see the blue as much. Okay. It's split since it's 2 separate pieces, 2 ways for the top window, 2 ways for the bottom window. Oh, okay. Interesting. So we've got our white, we've got our blue, and we've got what's going to be our base. It's a 36 window hospital, so... Oh, many window weights. Yeah. Oh, that goes in there. Alright, so for the D2... let's figure out, I think, which... I'm gonna be doing some stuff. I'm gonna figure out which snowflakes I want. And I'm gonna be kind of doing some weird stuff. Alright. You got lost on TikTok? At least you found your way back. That's good, that's good. So I'm finding a couple of snowflakes here. I've got some of various sizes. So I think I want like 2 or 3 per... Is this 2? 2 of them? Can't tell if this is 2 that are stuck together or not. Yeah, I think I want like 2 or 3 per die here. I'm just gonna put them on the lid here. I'm gonna figure out how to carve them because they'd be neat to carve. It sounds like they're cast iron, yeah. Yeah, cast iron. Let's see here. Yeah, well, let's just make these, I think, as similar as possible. Might as well. Yeah, I think 3 is going to be the answer. Humans like things in groups of 3, so we'll do 3. 3 snowflakes, 3 snowflakes per. And we'll do even similar snowflakes. This is actually the same as that one. Okay, these are actually both completely different, but they're of similar sizes, which is the most important part to me. All right. So for these, I don't want to just put them directly onto the silicone here because they're metal, and I don't want to end up like polishing off part of them or sanding off part of them. So I'm going to add a little bit of UV resin. And I'm just going to set these on the lid, I think, and do that here. It's just so that they're a little bit off of the face. So I'm just going to set these here, and then we're just going to put a little drop of UV resin on all of these. Maybe a tungsten carving Dremel would work. Huh. That is not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. Don't know much about that. That'd be more of a question for my dad. Or my brother, actually. I think he knows more about various various steels than iron. Because he did all sorts of research into blacksmithing at one point, because he was going to do bladesmithing. Heating it would help too. Yeah, but I mean, I guess whatever's going to be easiest to work with, because I feel like if you heat it too much, it's gonna be hard to handle. But I don't know. You guys are the ones with the ideas on that. Okay, so there's a little drop of UV resin. I'll pull out my fancy UV resin tools. It's a straight pin. And I'm just going to I want all of these to be coated just a little bit, so that they're not going to be against the very side of the die. So I'm just kind of trying to coat these all just a little bit, get them all completely coated. And you shouldn't even be able to see this, because it's going to be encased in the other resin anyways, so. Alright, come on. Come on, dollop. Dollop out of there. You don't have to make it burning hot. Oh, but warming the metal would relax it. Oh, okay. Whenever you talk about like heating up metal, I always think like molten metal. That's just where my brain goes. Or, you know, not necessarily even molten, but glowing hot. Okay. Let's see here. Let me get a little bit of resin over all of these. I need a little bit more for a couple more of these. I'll see if I can show you what I've done here before I take them off. I feel like you should be able to see on this one. Yeah, you can see I've just kind of put a little bit of UV resin on them, and I'm gonna bake those under the UV light. Oh, like 7 pounds each. Oh, okay. When you said that they were like heavy, I imagined something even bigger than that. 7 pounds is still pretty heavy though. Let's get these completely coated, and then I'll nuke them under the lamp for. Oh, why do I hear Koshi outside my door? I hear a Koshi meowing. That's a strange one. She's not usually the one that's meowing. She's the scaredy cat out of the bunch. I'm gonna let these cook. I'm gonna see if I can show off my most elusive cat. We'll see if Koshi wants to come in for a second. Is there a Koshi out here? Hi, baby. What's up? Come here. Come here. I know you don't like being picked up. Oh, you're a sausage. Here, just like a baby. Come say hi to the people. Yes, you are a sausage cat. This is my sausage cat. Oh, it's okay, baby. Just a second. Here's the sausage cat. It's okay, Koshi. She's not a huge fan of being picked up. I think it freaks her out a little bit, but she's such a sweetheart. And if you ever came to my house, you would never see her, because she's so scared of people. Okay, baby, you ready to go out? Okay, yeah, I'll let you down. All right, go ahead. Bye-bye, have fun. Yeah, that's Koshi. She's very sweet. All right, I'm gonna run this one more time. I found that usually it takes like 2 to get them completely solidified. And then I'll flip them over and we'll run them one more time. And then I'll put the snowflakes into our little moldy molds. Oh, actually, you know what? So, you've never met a very talkative cat? I don't know if there's a word for an overly talkative cat. To be fair, she's not. She's actually probably one of the quietest cats. I have Luna. Luna is very, very talkative. I forgot what the word was mid-sentence. I might actually do this differently. I think I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to grab the opposite molds. So, oh, this mold is no good. I think this mold has a problem. I'm not going to use this mold. This one has a problem, I think. I'm actually going to use the opposite mold, I think. I'll explain that in just a second. No, Luna is a very talkative cat. So I have 4 cats. And I don't know. Some of them are definitely louder than others. Vocal! Vocal, that's the right word. There we go. Yeah, no, Fitz is actually the same way. So both Luna and Fitz, like, you can be giving them attention and they're still meowing at you like they want something. Yeah, Luna will just follow me around the house and yell at me. Just like, give me attention, give me attention. And then you pick her up and you carry her around and she's perfectly content, but yeah, Koshi's not usually that loud. Koshi's usually a pretty quiet cat. Not, I would say, is in between. They're thirsty. They're thirsty cats. Your brother has 3 cats, none of them vocal. You like vocal cats? I mean, I do too. I think it's kind of cute, but it does get annoying sometimes. Okay, so I'm actually going to switch which molds I'm using. Originally, I was going to do the ones that have the symbol on the bottom, because my coin molds, they only have a symbol on one side, the other side's just flat. But I think if I want to be able to see the snowflakes better, I'm actually going to put it on the back side of the molds, because I think they will be easier to see there, and then we'll ink it in silver as well. So it'll have the silver symbol on one side, and then it will have the silver snowflakes on the other. I think that's going to look cool, and then you'll be able to see them better. And I want to place these so that they look kind of natural. And by that I mean place them very specifically so that they are exactly where I want them. Because that's always thirsty for blood. I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. My little killers. Yeah. It's trying to run away. I think this will work almost better. Don't like that actually. Let's move this. Yeah, there we go. I like that better. We're going for kind of the same design with both of them. So they're actually silver on the other side, but they're copper on this side. My plan is that you won't see the copper. You won't see the copper. You'll just see the silver on the other side, and then we will ink the symbols on the non-silver snowflake side in silver, so they'll end up matching. Anyways. And then you'll have a little bit of silver on both sides. I think that'll be good. Alright, let's see here. And that's going to go with some darker blue. So I need to grab a mixing cup for the darker blue. Actually, that looks like this blue. I don't know. I feel like I should do something else with this blue too. I'm not sure. I got the snowflakes in there. I could do maybe some sort of glitter in here as well. Let's see what I got going over here. Oh, actually, maybe just a little bit of like a blue glitter would be kind of pretty. If I do the blue mica and a little bit of blue glitter, that might be cool. I don't know. Is it a little bit too simple if I just do the mica with the, you know, on the one hand, I want the snowflakes to be kind of highlighted. So if I do add too much stuff, you won't notice the snowflakes as much. But I don't want it to be just kind of boring either. I don't want it to seem underwhelming. Yeah, this is all sorts of little flakes in it, but we're doing the exact same color, so it does not really matter. So we could add a little bit of like some sort of blue glitter. That blue doesn't quite match. If we wanted to, like a frosty kind of iridescent blue glitter, that could be good. Something like that. Or like a slightly darker blue glitter, that could be cool. Probably not that one, that one's a little bit bigger. Or I could always add a little bit of like an iridescent glitter or something like that. I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should I do just the mica powder? You just thought of something very interesting for you? I'm curious to hear that too. But should I do just the mica powder, or should I do the mica powder and a little bit of glitter mixed in there too? I would love to hear you guys' opinion, because I'm not sold either way yet. Do you think the mix? All right. I want to start doing more stuff with glitter. Maybe I might change one of the things that I had that I wasn't sure what I was going to do, because now I have an idea. Okay, let me, just a second. I just had an idea. Let me make a note. Where was that? Okay, let me just make it. So I want to start doing some more stuff with glitter, I think. I think I've mentioned this before. I didn't do a lot of glitter stuff when I first started doing resin because glitter is surprisingly hard to work with. And I don't mean that it like makes a mess and stuff. I mean that if you don't pour the resin at the right time, the glitter will sink to the bottom, or you'll end up with like a bunch of bubbles and stuff because you waited it a little bit too long and the resin started to solidify a bit. Because you kind of need to wait for the last minute to pour resin that has glitter in it that you want to be suspended. So I just didn't do a lot with glitter. But I kind of have gotten to the point where I know the point to then pour the resin with the glitter. So I want to start doing some more stuff with glitter. Because like I just haven't, because I didn't at the beginning, and so I just never got into the habit of working with glitter. But that might be fun. Let me make some notes. Make glitter dice. I'm making notes. We're making all the notes tonight, which is good because I'm always just like, I don't know what I want to make. So I'm making notes of things that I want to make at some point. All right, so there's the stuff with the mica powder. And then I've got a few different glitter options. I think this dark blue one. And maybe this one. I think those ones maybe. I could actually add probably a larger glitter to this one if I really wanted to. Because it's so thin, it might just sink to the bottom anyways, and it's not going to be a big deal. So I could add like a even lighter glitter. I might use a little bit of all three of these, because I feel like those might look good together. The ice is like ice 1, ice 2. Wait, what? One's the form of high pressure. I don't know about this. Is this like different structures of ice? I don't actually know what your what these different ice things are. I just want to add a little tiny bit, because I just want to add a little tiny bit of multiple kinds of glitter. So we're going to add a little bit of that kind of glitter. And then this one, I need to open up and put in a little container. I got these like multi-packs of like, what are they called? Sample. They're like little sample packs of glitter, but they don't have resealable containers. So I got some little containers that I can put them in. So let me pour this into here, and then we'll add some. That's fine. All right, there we go. There's our dark blue. And we'll add a little bit of that dark blue to our mixing cup here. That's a nice dark blue. Hopefully this doesn't look too out of place. I'm not adding very much. I'm just adding a little tiny bit of glitter because I do plan to add this at a point where it's probably going to sink, because I want the mica to kind of sink a little bit around the snowflakes. So I do expect this glitter to sink, so I don't want to add so much that it overpowers everything else. All right, and a little bit of this slightly larger, very light blue, silvery. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a silvery blue glitter. So, and we'll see how this looks too once we mix up the resin. And if we need to add a little bit more of any of the different kinds, we will. Oh, didn't go with these. Alright, so we've got our blue for that. And then I think we'll just have, well, we're going to add clear resin, and then we're going to add this on top of that. So we've got those figured out. And we're done with our little lamp here. Let me put all of the UV resin stuff away, because we don't need that anymore. Don't need the UV resin stuff anymore. We've finished all of that stuff. So let me put that back up. Up and away. So, let's see what else we got here. We've got a D8 here that's going to be a base of red. And it's really, I just need to find a mixing cup for that, because we'll end up mixing that. It's going to be all liquid pigments, so we'll end up mixing that after we mix the resin. But let's grab a mixing cup here. So these eyes that I'm going to do, hopefully if I have enough resin, I made some green eyes, and I had these little, oh, alright, yeah, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by, Omar. Go get some sleep. Ice, when formed depending on the temperature and the pressure, will form different crystalline structures. They're numbered with Roman numerals. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured from context, but, and it's possible I've heard of that before, but I just didn't know that for some reason. I like how I was talking about being a science major before, but I focused in math, I guess. That's cool though. I'll have to look into that. But let's see, you were saying, but you're saying, wondering how that would affect the crystalline structure of a snowflake. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if that is partially what affects. That would be really interesting, actually. Really interesting to form snowflakes under different conditions and just see how it would affect what they look like. That'd be really interesting. I don't know how that would affect things. Alright, so. This one's gonna be for some red resin. Yeah, these, okay, so these eyes that I am working on, I made some, and I have like these little, pieces that I want to stick out of the back of them. And I was having trouble figuring out how to get them to be like lie flat, basically, and stick out directly from the back. And I've just had the brilliant idea that I can do this in the same way that I do all of my other ones and just do 2 layers of resin. So I'll just do the green resin, not all the way up to the top, and then I will take the pieces that I want, glue them to the back, and then add more resin around it. Why did I not think of this before? So we're gonna redo that. Got a red there, and this one's going to be green and some glow in the dark. I have a good mixing cup for that. Do I have a good mixing cup for that? That's the real question. There's a mixing cup for that. Alright. Yeah, so and this is just kind of a fun little side project. It was funny, like in the span of a week or 2, I had 2 different people talk to me about making resin eyes. Just like, I guess this is a sign. I guess I gotta figure out the stuff to make resin eyes. So it's, you know, I might man. So I got a resin 3D printer, and I really have not used it much. I really should use it more. Maybe I'm gonna make a note to, I think I might try and 3D model some different eye shapes. Not shapes necessarily, but like, yeah, I guess kind of shapes. They're still gonna be round and they're still gonna be the same size, but the pupils and stuff are gonna be different. Because I think that might be nice. Let's see. What do you think would be most interesting in snowflake form would be ice, XVIII, a form of water also known as superionic water, or superionic ice, in which oxygen ions develop a crystalline structure while hydrogen ions move freely. Oh, interesting. Just that description makes you, yeah, that does sound interesting. That's, yeah. Huh. Yeah, no, that's really strange. I wonder what that ice is like anyways. Like, my brain's telling me that it's like that really yummy crunchy ice that's like a slushy. Since part of it is connecting and part of it's not. But I'm sure that's wrong. Or actually it's sonic ice. Supersonic ice. Super ionic. Like ions and yeah. Sonic ice. Go Sonic ice. Okay. So a little bit of our glow in the dark here. Yeah, I've got little bits of resin all over my hands. All right. This stuff likes to get everywhere when I open it. It's like the lid, just like, I don't know what's going on with this stuff. Alright, I don't really need too much of this. We're not gonna be doing a ton of resin there. And actually we're just gonna do this if we have leftover resin. So, let's set this off to the side over here. And we've got our inks here. And then last but not least, we've got our dirt. I wonder where my last mixing cup for making dirt is. So that's going to be a mix of cinnamon, coffee grounds, and cumin. I'm hoping to get, my plan is to make some more Minecraft dice. I'm hoping to get them in my shop for December's restock, but you know, if I don't, I don't. But I would like to get them in there by then. It's so satisfying when it all comes out in like one piece. There's just something nice about that. My very exciting plans for after I finish streaming is I'm going to go clean a bunch of dice. I spent quite a bit of today sanding dice, and then I started cleaning some of them because once I pull them out of like the, by Sonic ice you meant ice from the Sonic restaurant, also known as Nugget. Oh, do they have that kind of ice? Yes, I like that. I like that kind of ice. That's the I just call that the good ice. I feel like a local Dairy Queen had that too. Yeah, no, I call that the good ice because it's just good. It's just so satisfying to crunch. I'm putting this on. I'm getting cold again. All right, let's mix up our dirt. There we go. My stool was suddenly wobbly. It's very loud. It's like creaking all over the place. All right, let's get our dirt all mixed up. So, let's see. I'm gonna be making about 3 D6s, but they're gonna be slightly smaller D6s. So, again, probably about 10 milliliters. 10, 20, 30, 40. I don't know. It might be a little bit more than that. So I want this to be very textury. The cumin I found is kind of like a lighter but very kind of textured sort of thing to add. Like it has a lot of variation. Some of the little like flakes of it look kind of longer, some of them look smaller. So I really like the cumin for that sort of dirt look. And then I am adding a little bit of coffee grounds because they're a little bit darker, so you've got a little bit of variation in the sort of dirt, but they're also very textured. They're not a colorant so much as like a texture. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon, which is kind of a colorant. It's kind of a dark brown. And we may end up having to add more of those. That's part of the reason I'm leaving everything on the table here instead of putting it all away. One time you were contemplating buying a nugget ice maker for $600. You decided against it. I mean, valid though. Valid. That stuff's so good. It's so good. This is a very... It smells like Indian food, I think. Between the cinnamon and the cumin. Is that what it smells like? Maybe? Maybe my brain is just confused. Alright. We're going to try that. We may have to add more, like I said, of those colors, but we'll see. So that's going to be our strange mix of spices. You'd think we were cooking something, but no. We're just coloring resin with that. I think I'm definitely going to need more, but we'll start with that. We'll add more later. Okay. I think... Oh, last thing is going to be this set of fate dice. I know words. So it's going to have like clear resin with a little bit of shimmer and a little bit of gold foil. And then we're going to end up adding a little bit of like a pink to it. So let's find... That looks like a nice clear. Oh, that worked really well, actually. That just pulled right out. All right. All right, cool. So this is just going to have a little tiny bit of gold shimmer. I'm kind of basing this off of this single D4 that I poured at one point that was just kind of like leftover resin because I really like how it turned out. So we're going to do a little bit of a gold shimmer here. Just a little tiny bit. So I'm just going to dip that in and kind of tap it out in there. And that'll add just a little subtle kind of glitter to it. Then we're going to add a little bit of gold foil. Again, not a ton. It's going to be, I want kind of small pieces of gold foil, so we'll stir it up quite a bit. But I do want enough that I get some in each die. That's the important part. Otherwise it'll look unintentional. That's the word I'm looking for. It'll look unintentional if I don't have some in all of the dice. So let's make sure that we have a bit in there. We're going to be doing about 20 milliliters of resin, I think. So we'll add a little bit more than that. We'll add a little bit more. All right. And if we need more, I'll add more. But I think that'll be good. So that's going to be our base resin. And then we'll do a few little swirls of black. And I'm going to do, I think I might pipe in a bit of this Duo Red Blue. And I don't really want it to be a drop kind of swirl like the others. I just want it to be kind of subtle. But let's find some color for that. I want to taste gold the same way I crave to chew on a piece of indium. What's indium? That also sounds radioactive. I don't know that it is, but it sounds like it. It should be. Yeah, I think this mixing cup will work. So we're gonna add just a little bit of this too, more than the gold shimmer, but not so much that it weighs down the resin. That's really what it is. We don't want it to weigh down the resin. Ah. The non-toxic metal you can chew like bubblegum. Oh, That sounds, well then, what's stopping you? Let's do it. Okay, so there's a little bit more, like I said, I don't want it to hinder, so I've added quite a bit there, but not so much that it's going to weigh down the resin. That's the idea anyways. So let me set this back over here. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, I'm not gonna sneeze. That's always annoying too. Ugh. Okay. I could feel a sneeze coming on and then it didn't happen. Alright. Let's see here. I might need that. Let's set that over here. Okay, I think we have everything all lined up and ready to go. So drink some tea here. Yeah, what's stopping you is you don't have any indium. I mean, fair. Is that something that you can like order online though or something? Because I know you can get like bismuth and stuff online, which is also fun to melt down and make bismuth. Not bismuth. Is it bismuth? Yeah, bismuth. Make fun, pretty crystals and things. Okay. So I think we've got everything lined up. So let me grab my safety equipment. I say as I take off my glasses, which seems counterintuitive. And then we will get all of this resin poured. So gloves and respirator. And I have new cartridges for this coming in the mail, which is good because I think these are getting a little bit old. So I'll breathe easier once I've got the new ones. All right, let me get my hair out of the way. Oh, and actually, let me grab a mixing cup. We're gonna need that. Something to actually stir in. All right. So I'm gonna be a little bit muffled for the rest of the stream, and also have to squint at the. I also have to squint at the screen to read anything apparently. So I'm gonna sound like this. Just a heads up. I will try to be talking as clearly and as loudly as possible, but it is just a little bit muffled. I do wonder if it will be easier to hear me once the new cartridges come in. I don't know, but I think it'll still be good. All right, let me grab down. Do I want my sweater on? Okay, I think I'm cool enough that I'll leave my sweater on. All right, let me grab down the resin and we'll get that poured. So, I'm going to be using a 2-part resin, and it's a resin and a hardener. So I'm going to be going quiet here for just a second because I can't measure and talk at the same time. But feel free to chat amongst yourselves while I get this measured out. I'm very, very close. I think that's good. I think we're good. And there's part A. And then let's do, I think I got, then I'll do part B, which is the hardener. Alright. Alright, now we're gonna sit here for a while and stir. So we can chat for a bit. Alright. So let's see, what should we chat about? So you can buy it online, and you should because it's on the endangered elements list and it's getting more expensive. The increased. Oh wow. I mean, is that a good thing for you to then get it, or a bad thing? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get it, it sounds like you should get it now. What was I saying though? Oh, I was just gonna say that I think the next few Saturdays are gonna be soap making. Oh yeah, I was talking about this before. So there's a holiday bazaar that I've done a couple of years. Obviously not last year, but I did a couple of years in the past, and I'm gonna make some soap for it. But I need to make it like now. So the next few Saturdays might be soap making streams. Any scents? I've got a couple picked out, but like, you've got ideas, I'm open for them. I think the one that we're gonna do this Saturday, I'm gonna do like a milk and honey scent with some oats in it, like actual oats in the soap. But anyway, I'm open to all sorts of things. I have a whole bunch of this shelf right here on my back wall. That's all scents. That's all various scents. I kind of got a lot of them. I don't mean a lot of them, like a great number of them, but I mean like a bulk, like a they were all being sold together a lot. So I have a whole bunch of scents to pick from. But yeah, I think this Saturday I kind of have it picked out. My brother has a particular scent that he wants to find and have me make some soap for. But yeah, no, I'm open to ideas. Can't do cinnamon really. That's a skin irritant. Can't do citrus because it burns out while the soap is curing, so it just doesn't end up being scented. But yeah, I'm open to ideas. But what I was gonna say is, yeah, the next few Saturdays I think are gonna be soap. But I am thinking of changing Saturday to honeydew and patchouli. That's interesting. I don't know if I have either of those scents, but I'll have to try that at some point. That's interesting. But I'm thinking of changing Saturday's stream to like video game day maybe, or just more miscellaneous stuff, because you know, maybe I'll still do resin if I need to. If I have like a whole bunch of commissions or something, I'll go do resin that day. But I'm thinking of changing it to like a video game day maybe. It'd probably mostly be Minecraft because I don't play a ton of video games. But maybe some like puzzle games, and then maybe if like people want to do multiplayer games, some of that. But I don't know. I'm looking for feedback from folks on what they think, and if they'd be interested if I change Saturday to a video game day. Like I said, probably mostly Minecraft because that's what I've been playing. But for the next few weeks, it'll be soap. Whether you guys like it or not, it'll be soap because that's what I need to get done. Yeah, I need to get. Like, quite honestly, I don't need to pour dice. I have pretty much all of the my dice made for the next 3 months. More like 2 months, I guess, at this point. I have all the dice made for like the next 2 months, and I'm trying to get ahead and that sort of stuff. So it's still good for me to be making dice. I obviously don't have the Christmas dice done, and I still have commissions and things, but I have a lot of sets made. The thing that holds me up is the sanding and polishing. I have 2 polishing tumblers at this point. I'm debating getting a third, because that's what takes the most time is the dice polishing. I don't know, I'm just I'm thinking aloud here. I've been debating on whether I want to get a third tumbler to polish dice in for a little bit now too, because that, you know, I leave them in there for like a week and a half or 2 weeks or something like that for them to polish completely, which means that, you know, it just takes a long time for things to polish, and then if I have things waiting, it's a long wait in between. Oh, you combine honeydew wax melts with enchanted scent wax melt, and the enchanted scent is blackberry and patchouli. Okay, so honeydew, blackberry, and patchouli. That kind of makes sense to me, because I feel like the honeydew is kind of like a lighter scent. I can't think of what patchouli smells like. I can't think of what that smells like. But I feel like blackberry is maybe a slightly warmer scent than honeydew. I don't know. It's hard to describe scents and flavors, I feel like. You know, that's something I just realized. I feel like with sight, with like vision, there's a lot of different words to describe different things. Whereas with like taste, there's very limited words to describe things. There's sweet and sour and salty. Like those are all descriptors, but we've only got like a few descriptors for how to describe things. How to describe how things taste. And it's kind of the same with scent too. I feel like scent doesn't have a ton of descriptors that we use to describe how things smell. I don't know if that's different in different languages. I don't know if that's just an English thing. Because I feel like if you have a word to describe something particular, you have a better concept of that thing, almost. Just, you know, having lots of different words for rain. Like, you know, if you have 3 different words for rain that all mean different kinds of rain, then those are 3 different concepts as opposed to the concept of rain. So I don't know. Sorry, this is me getting off topic, but if there ever was a topic. But that's just I wonder if we could create words to describe like scents and flavors. Sweet and musky. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that it makes more sense to me to have the blackberry in there, because I feel like blackberry would match that, and that blackberry would match the honeydew. It'd be kind of like a lighter sort of scent. Honeydew would. It's almost more of a fresh scent. So I could see how those would work. But yeah. You know, sweet and musky, that makes sense to me, but it's there's still like just limited vocabulary for describing scents. I sometimes end up using like visual words, like it's kind of light and airy, instead of like sweet and fresh. All-time favorite. Ooh. All right. Yeah, I'll have to figure out a way to go smell that at some point. That sounds nice. Alright, I think I'm getting close here to having everything mixed. Let's see, what do I want to start with? Well, we're going to start with the one that I definitely need. So that's this D20. This is for a commission. And then I think I want to do the ones that have mica drops in them. So that would be these 2. Yeah. And then we will worry about the other things. We're going to worry about, I think, everything before we get to the fate dice. That's kind of my last concern. There's an eyelash in here. Oh, I got it. I got the eyelash. I'm impressed with myself, because it's always weird with the, it kind of refracts light weird, so it's at a different angle. Walmart sells the wax melts of them both. Honeydew and enchanted scent. All right, I'll have to stop there at some point and take a look. I use the Walmart pharmacy anyway, so I'll probably be over there at some point. I'll have to go look. You gonna make a perfume of them? That'd be cool. Yeah. I should make. Man, I should do candles. Oh man, I should do candles too. Maybe I'll, instead of soap, one of these days I'll do candles. Maybe I'll make some candles instead, because I got stuff to make candles. And I think this is looking pretty good. Although I seem to have found another like eyelash or something, and I've caught it as well. Alright. You being constant bliss. Hey, you know, good. You know, that'd be nice just to have like, it's the little things, I feel like. It's just the little things where it's just like, I like this thing, and it's just like, having it around is just nice. I don't know, I'm that way about clouds. I feel like, which sounds weird, but like, I'll just be outside and I'm like, those are pretty clouds, and I do it like every time. I'm just like, I really like those clouds, they're pretty. I think this is all mixed. It's looking, I'm not seeing any swirls in it, so I think it is all, mixed. Let's just double check here. Scrape the sides. Alright, so we're going to start with the one here. This is for the D20 and the 2D4, so the D20 is the most important. So we're going to go up to 10, 15, somewhere in there. Pull that up. And I want to actually start divvying things up now. I'll start divvying things up now. I'm going to read that in just a second. But let's see here. This one is for the D8, since it's going to be the majority of it. So this one will be a little bit, this will be like 7.5, I think. Or 5, maybe. Yeah, I think like 5, 7.5, so we're in there. And then our other one's going to be just a little tiny bit. I mean, just a little tiny bit. Alright, this one, these ones are going to have clear. We have a little bit of clear here. Just a little bit. Kind of start things off. Because I want something for the blue to drop into. Yeah, let me divvy this up. So that'll be good, I think. All right. These. So that's gonna have this blue. So let me add the resin to this blue. I might need more resin. We'll see. All right. And then let's see here. What else? What do we have next? These ones are going to be this dark blue. So let's take that up to, we're doing D12s and D6s. We're going to take this up to, how much do I need here? 15 maybe? We're going to go all the way up to 12.5, I think. Because we want plenty of that. This is just a single D8. Doesn't take very much there. I'll go to a little bit less than 5 probably. And then, let's see, this one, go to 5 or so. Like I said, I'm just trying to divvy everything up. And if I'll leave a little bit of extra in here, but I don't want it all to sit in here because I found that if I leave a whole bunch of resin in here, it will start trying to cure. So that's not what I want. I want to try and get most of it out of here so it doesn't start trying to cure in there. So this is going to go about 12.5 probably. Alright, so there's still quite a bit of resin in here, but I think we can start mixing other things up and making sure that we have enough. Alright, so speaking of taste, I want to try the 5 flavor fruit. It's sweet, sour, bitter, spicy, and salty. Huh. That sounds really interesting. I wonder if it's like all at the same time, or if it's kind of like it progresses through the different flavors, because I feel like that's possible too. I wonder how that works exactly. I've definitely, you know, had foods that are like multiple flavors at once, and it was just very like interesting. I've had foods where it has like an aftertaste of something in particular, and like it had an initial taste and then it had a different taste later. And then I've also had foods where it's like multiple flavors at once, and it's just like, oh, this is really like interesting to taste. So I wonder which one it is. That sounds really interesting. Do you know what the fruit is? Is there like a name for it, or is it just called like the 5 flavor fruit? I'm curious. I might not need to add any white. I think I added enough pearlescent pigment here. I'm trying to get it so that the gold foil is broken up a bit though, so that there's more little tiny pieces kind of spread out more throughout the resin. Because there's like a big chunk, and I don't want a big chunk. I want little tiny pieces of gold. There we go. Just trying to break this up a bit. Oh, there's another big lump of gold. Let's mix that in. I might have actually added too much. Magnolia vine berries are 5 flavors fruit. Oh, okay. Interesting. I might actually have added too much pearlescent to this. It's a little bit maybe more opaque than I even wanted. I don't know, should I add a little bit more gold foil? That's the real question here. I'm trying to break it up into like little tiny pieces, but I'm wondering if I should just add a little bit more so that it's more visible. That's I don't know. It might be okay actually. Just little flakes in there, a little bit of gold flakes. It's not super, I don't know, they're not super noticeable though. Oh, here, I'll show you. Like, you can see there's like some little, they're very subtle. I think maybe I need a little bit more gold. We're going to add just a little tiny bit more gold to this. Stir that in as well. We'll see if we can add just a little bit more, because it's so opaque that it's just it's not even like showing up. So if I add a little bit more, it'll show up a little bit more, hopefully. Because I'll have more, you know, there'll be more against the surface of the die. Alright. Yeah, I do want it to be kind of subtle, but I don't want it to be so subtle that it looks accidental. That's kind of, I guess that's kind of the thing. I don't want it to look like accidental gold. I want it to look like it's purposeful, so there's enough of it that it looks purposeful, but little enough of it that it's not overpowering it. I want it to be mostly pearlescent white. Alright, I think that's looking a little bit better. I might actually wait a minute. Here, I'm going to add just a little bit more clear. Wait, how much do I have here? How much do I have here? Oh yeah, we've got plenty. I'm going to add a little bit more here. So I want to make sure that I have enough, but also I'm going to see if I can make it so it's a little bit less opaque. Because that would honestly be good if it was just a little bit less opaque. Alright. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I think that'll be good. Alright. Let's start getting everything else mixed up. So this one is it has just silver foil and a little bit of like a white shimmer to it, and this is going to be for our D8, which is going to have like a Petri in it, kind of a Petri mica drop swirl in it. we have our two D8s here. I'm just planning to do 2 advent calendars this year, just to see if people are interested in them, that sort of stuff. And then if it does well, maybe I'll do more next year, or do like pre-orders next year. I don't really have time to do pre-orders this year. I should have done that earlier if I was going to, so I could get everything made in time. That's the thing though with like handmade dice, is they just take a long time. So maybe next year for that, depending on how this goes. All right, there's our light blue all mixed up, and this is just our clear with our silver foil in it. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough resin here, but I guess we'll find out in just a second. Let me start filling these up. If I don't have enough resin here, I'll just grab a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to grab just a little bit more, maybe. It's gonna be kind of close. No, actually, you know, I might have had just the right amount of resin. I might have had just the right amount of resin. I don't want to dome that. Oh, I mean, I think I just had just the right amount of resin. I am almost impressed with myself, like how perfect that amount of resin was. And I'm gonna make this look a little bit flatter, because we're gonna add our blue to this, because I want this to start sinking into that clear resin. So we're gonna add our mica on top. I mean, I guess technically they don't have to have the exact same dice in them, but it just, I don't know. I want them to have the same dice in both of them. Let's see here. Alright. Okay, cool. So we've used up our little bit of clear. Oh, that's what I'm forgetting. I need to put a whole bunch of clear into these. This is the mushroom necklaces that I set off to the side. So let me start adding a little bit, because I want to do this early enough that there's time for like air to rise to the surface. I'm gonna fill that up, not all the way, because I probably want to be able to press these down if I need to as well. I probably will in just a second. I don't want to make a huge mess when I'm trying to get the air bubbles out. We'll add a little bit more resin to them in a minute though. Yeah, so I might not actually end up with enough for... I might have enough. We'll see if I have enough for the fate dice. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'll have enough for the fate dice or not. It'll be good to get some more of these made. Alright. Set these off to the side to let some air rise to the surface. It looks like air is already rising to the surface, so I'm going to add a little bit more resin here. Sink down in there. Alright, okay. Come on. Pop air bubble. There we go. So let me fill those up and let those sit for a moment. This one is also doing that, so let's add a little bit more resin here. Cool. And we've got these ones which are already starting to go. So I got a new spray bottle because I broke my last one. This just has a little bit of rubbing alcohol in it, so I can just spritz these down, and that will help the surface tension break, so that the air bubbles on the surface can pop, hopefully. Hopefully. Come on. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to set these off to the side for now in my little tray here that I use to put them into the pressure pot. Set things out of the way. And that will give them time to let the air rise to the surface. Oh, I need to add a little bit of this to the lid though. I'll probably add some of any of the leftover clear to the lid. So that's what I have left. It's just a little bit of that clear with the silver foil. So That actually works out just fine because it'll match perfectly. And this one is all done. Alright, and here's our clear with a little bit of silver foil, so we'll add that to the lid here. Cool. And there's just a little tiny bit of that left. So let me set this off to the side. Get those out of the way so I don't stick my elbow in them or something. Alright, so next on the kind of mica drops, I think are going to be our D2s here. And we've got our kind of slightly darker blue with our little bit of glitter in there. And yeah, it's kind of subtle glitter. The glitter's kind of subtle, which is, I mentioned it might be. So, you know, I think there's enough of it though that it just adds a little tiny bit to it. It's just kind of a subtle glitter, but it does add a little bit of a glitter, a glint to it, a little bit of a glint, a little bit of a little flecks of light. I think maybe you could use a little bit more of the dark blue though. I think that's what it could use because it's, I don't even barely see that at all. So we're gonna a little bit, just a little tiny bit more of this dark blue. Mix that in as well. Yeah, it's still subtle, but I can now see the dark blue in there. All right. I don't know, this might need a little bit more clear. I think we're good. We're just going to add a drop of clear more, and we'll add this on top. And I want to try and at least cover the snowflakes, because I don't want the copper backs of the snowflakes to show through. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'll start adding more over the entireties of the backs. Alright. That's a piece of resin. Let's get that out of there. Doesn't really hurt anything, but it's just kind of unnecessary. Alright, I'm just trying to kind of cover the whole thing with this blue, so that it's not all on one side or another. And I'm going to add the last little bit of this blue to the lid, because I want to prevent air bubbles from getting trapped. I'm going to put the lid on, and also this will help make sure that we keep some of that blue on this side. It doesn't all sink to the bottom. So we're going to add that to the lids. And then I'm going to spritz these down and set them off to the side as well. So let's do that, so the air bubbles on the top will pop. There we go. Those were the correct words in the correct order. Alright, set those off to the side. And we'll move on to our next thing. Let me see how this is doing. This is our yeah, I think that's going to be good, actually. This is our pearlescent. You're going to go to bed? Alright, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you could hang out for a bit. So clear with our gold. I think we're still going to let that sit for a minute. Let's just start mixing up some of our other ones. Let's see how they're looking. So this is our dark blue. And this pigment that I'm using has a tendency to kind of clump. So I'm definitely going to want to get this stirred. So it's probably good that I'm doing this one a little bit sooner as opposed to later. Because then if I'm stirring it vigorously, there's more time for air to get out of it. And it's easier while it's a little bit thinner for the air to get out of it. But let's see if I can get these filled up with this dark blue. And actually, I think it might be good. I was debating adding, yeah, it's a little bit speckly, but it's all one color, so I think we're going to be okay. There's some like kind of dark specks in here just because of this pigment, but I think that'll be fine for what I'm going for. All right, let's start with, I think, the D12s. Actually, yeah, we're going to start with the D12s. These are just going to be, am I going to be for resin? I guess we'll find out. These are blank D12s, and then I'm going to be adding some stuff in between where the blank D12 is and then the outside of the actual die mold. So let's fill these up. Come on. And then, let's see here. Yeah, I think this will be good. They might end up a little speckled on one side or something, but that's okay. And then we're going to add just a little bit to the lids. And I think maybe I will have enough for my D6s, because I'm not planning on filling up the D6s all the way. I'm planning on just filling up the D6s to like halfway. So then I'm going to be adding something to that flat side, and then, yeah, I think, yeah, we've got plenty here. Alright, let me set these off to the side as well. Yeah, I went through my my blank molds fairly recently, just to be like, wait, how many blank D6 molds do I have, and all that sort of fun stuff. So I've got that. I think I need, so here's our D6s. I think I need a pipette. Let me grab a new pipette for this, I think. A new clean one. Because I only want to fill this up halfway. I don't really want to get a whole bunch of resin onto the side of the mold. So I'm going to try and do this gently. Yeah, I might have extra dark blue, and honestly, that'll be fine. I have a different project that I'm kind of working on slowly. I'll show you. I think we're going to have some leftover resin, so I'll show you. So I'm going to go up to about... Alright, so I think, yeah, I might have actually just the right amount. We'll see. But I've been slowly working on some Franken dice. So I'm doing a whole bunch of just like random layers of different colors. That's kind of my plan anyways. It seems to be working out so well, but it's, you know, they're taking me a long time to do because I've just been doing lots of random colors as I have them. But I think we'll maybe throw some of this dark blue into one of them if we have a little bit extra, and I think we might, so. Yeah, just a little tiny bit more, I think, and then we'll be golden. Perfect, and that's about halfway, I think, both of those. I actually don't need the lids for these. We'll set them off to the side because we just want those to be the halves. Cool. So we've got a little bit of extra dark blue here. I have, like I said, Franken dice over here. So I've been slowly adding different colors to these at various angles and stuff. This one I think I'll just leave flat. I'm gonna add some dark blue to it. Lots of little tiny layers. So there we go, that's good for that. Let's see what else I've got here. This one's got green. This one needs to be at an angle though, I think. So let's get the last of this dark blue out of here. And I'm not as worried about making a mess with these, because the goal is kind of for them. I don't want them to be like super messy, but the goal is kind of for them to be uneven and everything anyways. So if I end up with a random, you know, drop of one color somewhere, it's not a big deal. So I'll set that over here. Set that off to the side as well. And I've just been slowly adding to all of these, and they're very close to being done. This D12 is so close. One more layer after this blue, I think, and then this one will be all done. That's so exciting. Cool, there's that. Knocking things over there. Let's see, here's the D6. Let's go at like corner and add a little bit Just add a little tiny bit of, little drop of blue here. That'll be nice. A little spot of color in a corner. So, you know, it'll just end up making that corner blue. That's kind of the sort of stuff that I'm doing. Alright. And they all have different colors and stuff in them. So let's see. Yeah, so like this D10, I don't think I'll do blue. So I think this D10, I just need one more color maybe, and I'll call it good. But I don't think I have enough blue to do that, so I might end up doing something else if I have left over from this, but let's put some blue in this one, I think. Oh no, this one already has blue in it, so we'll use this blue for something else. That's fine. Alright, so moving on. Let's see, what are we going to do next? Let's get our red mixed up, I think. So this one I'm trying to do kind of a candy cane red. I forgot to grab a stir stick, so let's do that. And so this is going to be kind of semi-translucent. This red is. We're going to add a little, actually, this red isn't super translucent. I forgot that this one's kind of opaque-ish, but I think we're still going to add just a little bit of white. It's going to make it lighter, but it'll make it a little bit more opaque. Let's see, which white do I want to do? This white is, I'm debating. This white is more opaque, but it also is like, has more pigment in it. So it'll make it lighter. Let's see if I can, I'm gonna add a drop. I might end up needing to add a bunch more red. We'll see. This might make it too pink. We'll see. Oh, no, actually I think this is good. I think that worked out perfectly. That's a good red right there. Yeah, I think that's good. Cool. That looks like a candy cane red, which is what I'm going for. And then this, what we're going to do is we're just going to do kind of a little bit of a dirty pour here. So I'm going to add a drop of that white. I'm going to kind of swirl it on top because I don't want it all to bunch together kind of in one spot. I don't want just a dollop of white, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to pour this in and swirl it around. And I might need a little bit more white though. So I want it to spread out, but yeah. Okay. It was looking just far too red. I need more white in there. I'm going for those red and white swirls, so I gotta have both those colors for red and white swirls. Alright. And there's our red and white swirls, and hopefully they'll keep that kind of swirly. Just a second if I can get it to show the screen. Yeah, hopefully it keeps that kind of red and white swirliness to it. And I'm just doing the one because I already have one of these made, so add another drop of this just so I know there's enough here. Cool. And so I'll set this, I'm going to spritz this down and set it off to the side now as well. And actually this red might be good. Could maybe finish this off. Well, I'm going to set the red off to the side and we'll worry about that in a minute. Alright. Moving along. It looks like I'm going to have plenty of resin for I'm blanking on words. The fate dice over here. So let's divvy this up. This is going to be about maybe 7.5 of this, and we'll do about 10 of the other, I guess. Wait, is that right? Yeah, so about 7.5 of this and about 10 of the other. Because I actually want more, I think, of the pink than I do of the clear. We'll go to about 10 on here. Alright, cool. So this one is going to be like a pink that kind of shimmers blue. I use this stuff, oh man, I really like this pigment. I use this in my Galaxy dice as well. And that's how I get kind of that shimmer in there. I have, I use holographic glitter, and then I use this kind of as a line in the middle with some of this dark blue that I did earlier. This dark blue. There we go. That dark blue. Bubbles are rising to the surface, so I'm sprucing this down. Alright, perfect. So it's still kind of clear, but I've got a little bit of that shimmer in there. And also apparently a random little piece of resin. So let's get that out of there. Alright. So the way I want to do these is I've got my clear with my gold here. And I'm going to add a little bit of this to each one. Okay, so I still have some. Let me make sure that I get some foil in each of these. So I still got a little bit in my container here, and that's good because I'm going to do kind of like a black sort of inky swirl in here. So I'm just going to grab this right here. I'm just going to put a little bit of black ink on the end of it. I'm going to kind of put that in there and swirl it around a little bit. And it doesn't need to be super swirled yet because I'm going to add something to help with that. So I'm going to get a little bit of that black ink in all of these. And just not too much, but a bit. I want it to be all smoky. Alright. There's not a lot in there. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you how it looks. So, some gold, a little bit of, it's so hard to see, but here, I'll tilt it. There you go. Gold with a little bit of black swirl in there. So then I'm going to add more of the clear resin with the gold foil, and that's going to help kind of swirl that black out even more, because it'll displace it a bit. So I'm going to try and drip it from a height that'll add a little bit of force to it as it falls. So I want that black to shift around in there, which it is. It's shifting around in there. I'm trying to get all of these to about the same fullness, I think. Okay, let's see here. I'm kind of measuring it compared to the lines in there. And I might take my little stir stick here and swirl those around a little bit as well, try and get things where I want them, but maybe not. Maybe I'll just leave it as it is. We're going to do something else here in just a second, and that will displace things even more. Alright. So there's that clear resin with our gold foil, and it is all put into the molds. So I'm going to grab another clean pipette. I didn't think to grab it beforehand because that would require pre-planning. Alright, and we're going to get some of this pink that's kind of translucent and has some blue shimmer to it, and I'm going to pipe this into the middle of it, hopefully. I'm going to try and get it kind of into the center of the die and get all of that clear with that black and that gold to kind of go out from the center. That's my goal, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it works. Let's see. It might be working. Might be working. I guess we're going to see. It's a little bit of an experiment to see if I can get that to kind of work how I want it to. I want the black and the gold and everything to be on the outside of the die, and then this to be kind of on the inside. Like I said, it's a bit of an experiment. Oh, what's this? Hi, Meatlorf. Thanks for following. Your name is very fun. Glad you could come hang out with us for a bit. I got a little bit of black in here, but that's okay. Alright, I think this might be working. I think it might be working. It's kind of maybe a little bit strange, but I don't know, I feel like it's kind of cool. I don't know. That's one of the fun things about resin. I mean, that is one of the things that's kind of unfortunate when it comes to streaming resin, is that, like, you don't get to see how they really turn out until the next day. That is why that's part of the reason that I have my Discord, which is in the description, is because I post photos there usually the next day, of how things turned out. But yeah, it's like, man, I wish there was a way to, like, show how this stuff turned out, like, at the end of the stream, but it just doesn't really work out that way with resin. I wish but I don't know, it's still fun to do, I guess. It's still fun to hang out while we're working on projects. That's how I think of it anyways. I think of it as just like hanging out while we're working on our art projects. I know other people like to work on other things while listening to streams, so, you know, drawing or just relaxing or whatever. That's what if I'm gonna listen to a stream, it's usually while I'm working on something else. So I guess I just assume that that's what everybody else does too. Like, I want something long form to put on in the background that I don't have to try and, like, change the channel on, or go find another video to watch. It's just like, I can put on a 2-hour video or chat with people for 2 hours, like go hang out in someone's chat for 2 hours. That's the thing about streaming, I guess. It's not having to find another YouTube video to watch. Alright. Okay. So there's a little bit of this left, but I don't actually want this for the lid because I want that to stay in the middle. So do I have a little bit more of that? Just enjoying the stream? Yeah, glad you could stop by. Glad you could stop by. I'm making a mess of my gloves, but I'm getting the last little bit of resin out of my pipette so that I can use that pipette again. Alright, let's see. Did I have a little bit? That's the silver. Did I use all of my... Oh, I used my gold. But I think we might have just enough put on the lids here. I just want to put a little bit on the lid. It's not super important for these. Usually I put stuff on the lid so that it, you know, doesn't end up with any air bubbles in between, like the numbers and the main part of the die. But there's actually not any numbers here, it's just flat, but, you know, it's good to have a little bit of extra resin so that when these go in the pressure pot, there's a little bit of extra resin to fill in where the air bubbles were. Needs something to fill in that gap. So, just adding a little tiny bit, last little tiny bit of resin. Here, how did that end up over here? Alright, now I've definitely used all of that resin. I'm going to spritz this down with a little bit of rubbing alcohol to help those bubbles pop on the surface, help break that surface tension, and I'll set these over here as well out of the way for now, while we get everything else mixed up. I've got a little bit of that pink and blue still. Alright, let's start mixing up our dirt here. Which sounds weird. It's a mix of yeah, I definitely need more. I definitely need more, but see, it's dirt. Why is there a piece of glitter in there? Just a moment. Let me get the piece of glitter out. I definitely don't want the piece of glitter in there. I don't think I got it. I didn't get it. Still not sure I got the glitter. Well, we'll find it in a second. Alright, so, for those of you that were not here earlier, I'm making some little blank blocks of kind of dirt. That looks almost black on camera, but it has a little bit of texture to it. Because I made some Minecraft dice a bit ago for a friend. We did a dice trade. And there was a very large positive response to them. And so I went and looked it up, and you can sell some Minecraft themed fan art. So I'm assuming that this falls under Minecraft themed fan art, and I'm going to make some Minecraft dice. So these are going to turn into dirt blocks. I'm going to make these blank cubes, and then I'll paint them to look like the Minecraft dirt blocks, and then I will just add them to the actual die. But for the dirt, I'm using some very strange ingredients. I'm using cinnamon and cumin and coffee grounds. So it works for adding a lot of like texture while also adding color. So let me get this stirred up and I'll see if I can show you kind of how much texture it adds. Because that's kind of what I want. I don't just want a brown, I want it to look earthy. So the cumin and the coffee grounds both add some like grit to it and some variation in texture, and then the cinnamon really adds some color to it. So I'll see if I can get it so you can see. It's very dark. There you go, you can see. Yeah, so you see there's kind of like little flecks of different shades in there. Different flecks and different kind of like shaped flecks and stuff too. The cumin adds maybe a little bit of kind of a longer flake to it, and then the coffee grounds is a little bit rounder. So that's what's going on there. And I think is that dark enough? That might be enough. I think the other one I made is actually a little bit dark. I think I like this a little bit better because I think it's easier to see all the little flakes of things in there. Alright. Do I want to add a little bit more of anything before I put this in? I'm going to add just a dash more of the cinnamon, which is going to make it a little bit darker. But I think I want it like a little bit more opaque almost, so that you don't have like a ton of light going through it. So let me stir that in, and then we'll put that into these blank D6 molds. And this should be easy enough to do because it's all just one color. All just one color, and we're just gonna glob that in there. Alright. Perfect. Alright, so let's and I want these like all of them, I want to dome it just a little bit. I want there to be just a little bit of extra resin at the top so that there's resin to fill in where the air gaps, all the little tiny bubbles that are going to get compressed in the pressure pot. I need a little bit of resin to fill in where those were. So there's this. I'll stretch them down just like the others so that the surface tension can get kind of broken a little bit, so that hopefully all those air bubbles will pop. Let me set these off to the side to sit for a minute as well. And we will do our last few little things. So I think this is starting to get a little bit thicker. It's starting to stick to my gloves a little bit more, which is usually a sign. Alright. I think we're finally ready to pour our D20, which is the die that I need to get done tonight. I mean, I guess I don't have to get it done tonight, but it's a pearlescent and it's going to have little flecks of gold in there. So we're going to do this first, and then hopefully we'll have enough to do a couple of D4s as well. So let's pour this in here. And part of the reason I kind of held off on doing this is because if it's a little bit thicker, it will kind of hold the swirls in it better. If I do it when it's thinner, the mica will kind of like even out on its own, but if I do it now, while it's all swirling, it'll kind of keep some of that, which is always nice. Let's see here. Trying to make sure that I get gold flakes in there. And it looks like we should have plenty of resin to spare. So we'll set this one, spritz this one down, set it off to the side as well. And let's do a couple of D4s with the same pearlescent color. And these are going to be for the advent calendars that I'm making. I'll probably mention those coming up here soon. I'm trying to get things made to the point where I for sure know that they're happening, because I definitely want them to happen, but you know, just I need to make sure that I actually have everything made for them. But the plan is to do a whole bunch of like winter and kind of Christmassy dice. You know, I might have enough here. Let's see what sort of colors. So like I was saying before, I might, what did I just knock down? Oh, my black ink. Alright, we're gonna, I think, fill in this D10 here with this. Finish this up. So this is one of the Franken dice that I've been working on. So a whole bunch of different colors and stuff in different layers. So we're gonna fill that up and use that. And then I think we'll end up using some of that maybe in like a bonus little die. Oh, spritz that down. Just spritz everything down. It's just rubbing alcohol. Alright. Cool. So we've got pretty much everything ready to go. I'm gonna come back to these, which is the little terrarium necklaces. They have little mushrooms in them, and just clear resin. I want to make sure that the mushrooms are down to the bottom, so I'm going to take a little stir stick and I'm just going to press down on the mushrooms. And then I'll also make sure that there's no like giant air bubbles trapped underneath them. Hopefully it'll displace that air. And then I'm also going to add a little bit more clear resin to top these off and make sure that there's no giant air bubbles just sitting on the surface, because there are. Alright. Yeah, get those big air bubbles popped, because they won't necessarily pop right in the pressure pot by themselves. Trying to get this kind of centered too. I want it to be down in the moss and the dirt that's in there. The resin's definitely starting to get a little bit thicker. Trying to make sure that I can see. As I use these molds more and more, they get a little bit more cloudy, so it's a little bit harder to see into them. So some of them are easier to see into than others. Okay. Alright, yep. Alright, those all seem to be down where they're supposed to be, so let's add our last little bit of resin. I'll set these over with all the stuff to go into the pressure pot. That is a nice thing about the pressure pot, is that I don't know, it's just, I can use it for all of the jewelry and everything too, and it just makes everything so nice because it gets rid of all of the little bubbles. It presses them down until they're so small you can't even see them. But I don't know, it just makes everything look so nice. Oh, there's a cat hair in here. There's always a cat hair somewhere, there's gotta be. Alright, let's, so in the past I've done like little D4s to send along with orders, but I think I'm gonna start doing D6s instead. So I think I might make some little bonus D6s to go with all of these. Alright. Those are all full enough. I think this one could use a little bit more. This one's a little bit lower than the others. Alright. So let's make some D6s, I think. With all the little bits of leftover resin that we have. Still just spritzing everything down because I want all those bubbles to pop on the surface. Alright, so let me grab, so we've got a little bit of various things here. Let me see if any of this could be used. I'll use some of this. I'll use some of this red, I think, in this D20 here. This is the Franken D20. I want to get these done. I'd like to get like I've pulled out, so I've got the D2 and the D4 done, and they, like, the D4 looks really cool. The D2 just kind of looks like a D2. There's not a lot there that could be done. But the D4 is looking really cool, and so now I'm excited to get these done and see how they turn out. So here's the D20. Alright, let's grab some D6 molds. I'm going to try doing some various D6s. Alright. And then maybe a bonus fate die as well. So I think that these two might look good together. That's the, like, the pearlescent white with the gold and the blue, the pink that shimmers blue. Actually, that might look good with the dark blue as well, but or the light blue. But let's try doing something here with some of the pink and some of that white and gold. This is how I sometimes end up with really cool color combinations and stuff too, is I just, you know, I make dice with the leftover resin and suddenly it's just like, oh, that's a really nice color combo. So let's make a bunch of D6s. And actually we'll use some of that, I think, in the, I'm going to do a bonus fate die as well to go with that set. And I'll use maybe some of that leftover pink and blue in there as well, I think. Let's use, well, actually let's finish up this die first and then I'll worry about that. Since this one's already got the white and the pink, let's see if we can get this one filled all the way. And I'm just going to use the white and the pink for that. Got a little bit of the pink left. Let's see if I can use up all of the white and get this thing full. Alright. Alright, cool. So that's a D6. Let's put a little bit on the lids so we don't end up with big air gaps around the number here. I'll spritz this down, and this is definitely getting thicker. We're definitely nearing the end of our work time here. We'll get all of these poured, and then I'll get the lids on, and we'll call it. But we got a little bit of time before that. All right, let me set this off to the side. Let the air bubbles rise to the surface there. This one is going to be a leftover fate die. So let's use that last little bit of pink that we've got. And then maybe the red. I think we'll put the red in there. I'm not quite sure what to do with the dirt. The one that just looks like dirt. And I don't mean that as like a, oh man, it looks like dirt, but I mean like it purposefully looks like dirt. I'm not quite sure what I should do with that one. Maybe do a different blank die and then I will paint it to look like flowers or something. Ooh! I wonder if that's enough to go into like a blank D20 and then I could paint it to like look like flowers and stuff on the surface. Or just do flowers on the surface. Oh, do little tiny flowers. Ooh! Okay. We're going to see if I can put that into a blank D20. We'll see if there's enough there to do that. Let's see here. There's a blank D20. Let's see if this will fill it. I guess even if it doesn't fill it, we could still do something cool with that. Even if it's just a partial blank D20, I could then put flowers like on top of it. Yeah, I don't know if this will be a full blank D20. It might be. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know the how much resin goes into the blank ones as much. It's a little bit less than the regular dice, obviously. Well, here, I'll add a little bit of clear to this and mix that in. And it'll be a little bit like not as much dirt on one side, but that's fine because I'm going to kind of paint over it anyways. So if it's a little uneven, that might actually look kind of cool. But not the cat hair. Get out of there, cat hair. This is what I get for bringing Koshi in earlier to say hello. funny. I think Koshi has maybe the shortest hair out of all my cats, but she might shed the most. She sheds so much. Like, I don't know, like you pet her and there's just hair everywhere afterwards. I don't know what it is. She's just like constantly in a state of shedding. Alright. Oh, perfect. I added just the right amount. So, this one is going to be a little bit weird, because it's just going to be kind of a weird dirt D20, but then I think I'm going to do something cool with it. We'll paint it to look cool. Oh, I just remembered the eyes that I have sitting over here. Alright, let's do those before I forget about them. So I've got these eyes here. Let's get those going. My workspace is a little bit of a mess at the moment. Hopefully it's not confusing what I'm working on. Alright, so I've got these eyes. It has some glow-in-the-dark powder here. Let's mix that up in there, and then I'm going to add some green as well. Add a little bit of fluorescent green here, and then I think a little bit of a mojito green, which is kind of a slightly darker color. I just found last time that this by itself was not enough. I think I hear a cat outside the door again. There's always a cat outside the door, though. I mean, the guy come say hello. You know, I don't know, my cats, I don't know, people that say cats aren't affectionate have not met my cat. Like, I don't know. I have 4 cats that want to be in the same room with me at all times, so I don't know, man. They're always very sad if I am in a different room. Or Fitz will try to lead me to whatever room he wants to be in. But the other cats will just, like, come hang out in whatever room I'm in. Unless they want some alone time. Every once in a while they'll just be like, I'm gonna go sleep over here. But for the most part, they just want to hang out wherever I'm at. Alright, yeah, so this one isn't very pigmented. So it has a little bit of green, but it's just not quite enough. So, I do want to add a drop of this white, because it is very pigmented and it will make it opaque. I don't actually want this to be see-through. I want it to be opaque, but I don't want it to be so opaque that like the glow-in-the-dark part doesn't work. Alright, so cool. So there's a very, very light green. I think I'm going to add a little bit more resin here. Actually, yeah, I'll add some more resin here, because I want to make sure that I have enough. And then if I have some left over, I'll use it. Just use it in one of the spare places. This works out fine. Alright. So let's mix that in. I think I'm going to add a little bit more green. It's very, very light at the moment. It's way too light. Another couple of drops of this first. I'll stir that in. Yeah, so that's more of a kind of glow-in-the-dark looking green, I feel like. And then I'm going to do one eye of each of these with the light green, and then I'm going to do one of each with the dark green. These are just kind of proof of concept things, so. I'm going to do one of the smaller ones. I feel like this could actually be even darker. This could probably be darker. Well, that's okay. And then one of the larger ones. And I don't want to fill these up all the way, actually. I want them to be enough to go over the little, the raisy uppy bit in the middle that's going to be kind of the iris. But I want them to be down far enough that when I add, because I want to add like a flat back to it, a thing that's I'm going to like glue down to it. I want to be able to do that. So I think those both look good. And now we're going to add a drop of this darker green and see how that looks as well. Yeah, because this is quite a bit darker. Yeah, see, I think that this is going to be more of the green that I want, but we'll see. This is not for me. This is for a friend that's working on a project and wanted some prototype eyes. So let's see here. I think this is a good green. It's kind of a like an apple green. Yeah, I'd call this apple green. And I think that's honestly going to be kind of perfect. So we're going for kind of like a radiated sort of look. And I think the other one's just too light. But if I went too much darker than this, it wouldn't look quite irradiated enough. So I think we might be good with that color. I think this color is going to be good. That's one of the nice things about streaming, is that I have like a built-in like record of what I just did. So later, if I'm just like, oh man, how did I get that green color? I can go back and watch the stream. I have done that before. I've gone, oh no, I made this thing, but I need something to kind of match it. What colors did I use? And I just go back in the stream and I'm just like, oh, okay. It was this color and this color and this color. So it works out perfectly. Alright, let's do these last few little six-sided dice. And then we will call it good. So I have the last little bit of the pink and blue. We're just going to put in a bunch of other little colors here. This is the shimmering blue with some blue glitter in it. And then I think I'm going to put in a bunch of clear, because I got a bunch of clear resin here. And I think might as well. I might display some of this, and that'd be a-okay. Alright, I've used up that blue. I'm just trying to use up all of this resin. So it's getting rather thick. We're getting towards the end of our work time here, which means I need to get this stuff used up pretty quick. Alright. Yeah, I think we're just going to use up the last little bit of our clear here. So I think we might have just enough to finish this up. Alright, perfect. Yeah, there's maybe a little bit left in here, but it's thick enough now that it's going to be difficult to work with, so I'll just set that off to the side for now. I am going to spritz this down, even though it's getting a little bit thick. Hopefully it'll help a little bit. And then I think, I'm going to try stirring up the colors a little bit so that they're not all on one side. So I'm going to introduce more air into it because I don't know, man. That might have been a poor decision, but we'll find out, I guess. I'll definitely let this one sit while I pour these other things real quick. So I've got this green. I'm going to pour this green into here. This is, I have one more blank D6. Oh, it just has something in it. Okay, we're going to put this green into this blank D6 right here because I want this blank D6 mold. And so I want to use it up. It had random stuff in it from like a different random pour. So that would be great if I could have my fourth blank D6 mold, because I can get my my things for the Minecraft dice done. Cool. So I've got a little bit of that left. That's fine. All right. That definitely has bubbles, so we're just gonna spritz everything down again. We still got a little bit of our glow in the dark green here. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it might look good with the blue here. I think I'm gonna end up doing part of a dye. I think, yeah. Cause I don't really want to. I guess I could put this with the red. I'll just do the green and then the blue and then like the red, but I don't know. I don't want to do this green with that red. I don't know why. Like, usually complementary colors, I'm just like, yeah, I love like pink and green. I don't feel like this red and this green would match super well. I think if I put them next to each other, they'd end up very brown. But who knows? Who knows? Use up that last little bit of glow in the dark green. Get that off to the side over here. And then I'm going to put the blue in there. You know, I've mentioned this. I've been having like a sore throat a lot lately. I wonder if it's just because I've been talking so much. Not like, I mean, it's not like I talk, I mean, I do talk a lot, but like for streaming and stuff, you know, I'm talking nonstop for 3 hours or something. But I mean, I don't think it's just that. It's probably a whole combination of things, but I wonder if that's it. What made me think of it is that I'm just kind of starting to get a sore throat now, but after I've been talking for 3 hours. But I mean, I've done like 5-hour streams before and I've been fine. I don't know, I think there's something up with my throat. I'm just going to do a half dye with that green and blue. And then I think I'll do like a half dye with this red and clear. I guess I could add the red. Should I add? No, I'm going to do half dye with the red and the clear. Because I don't know if I'd have enough to finish off that dye, but I think it'd be close enough that it might, yeah. I probably would, but we'll finish both of these off with something else later that I think matches better. So let's use up this last little bit of red. Alright, cool. There's our last little bit of red. Get that offside. And then we have our last little bit of clear here that has a little bit of silver in it. Just a little bit of silver. And we will start putting lids on things. Not these though. This doesn't need the lid. I don't want that. I'm going to stick my arm in it. That would just be unfortunate. Alright, so these ones are only going to be half done, and we'll finish filling them at a later date with a half of some other color. Okay. It's very messy over here. All right, let me spritz everything down again. So I see some bubbles on the surface of these, especially this one. All right. Well, we might have to manually pop some of those bubbles. All right, let's start putting some lids on things. Let me move a couple things out of my way so we can move this over so you can see what I'm doing. It's not all off screen, because that's unfortunate if it's all off screen. All right, so we've got our molds here. Here's some of the first ones we did with our light blue. We're just gonna start getting our lids on there, and I don't want to press down too hard. I want to make sure that the lids are in the right spot. But I want to make sure that there's that extra resin still in there to fill up any air gaps that are going to disappear in the pressure pot. So I'm going to kind of go in the order I think that I poured them for the most part, or the ones that look like they don't have any air bubbles on the surface, because it's usually a good indicator that the air bubbles have all popped and left. I'm also going to try and make sure that there's no giant air bubbles on the lids before I put those on. So these are looking good. I usually put the D2s, the D2 molds like these, underneath something else because they are kind of wobbly. Wobbly is not necessarily the right word, but like I don't know, the lids are I don't know, there's not as much room for the lids to sit on there, so they don't as well. Alright, we've got our fate dice. I know that these were a little bit more recent, but they're looking pretty good bubble-wise, so let's get this lid on here, because it's just easier to have this one on the bottom, because it's so big. And this way we can stack other things on top of that It's easier to stack other things on top of that as opposed to that on top of other things. Alright. Got a lot of open-faced things here. These blank D4s, they still got some bubbles coming up to the surface, but actually here, you know what? I'll start adding these lids. There's a little bit up there. And make sure that these numbers filled in. Yeah, there's like so this is it has a 10 on this side, and so the 0 on there had an air bubble in it. So I'm trying to fill that in. A little bit of resin so that there's not an air bubble there. Probably wouldn't be too big of a deal, but it's just easier to, you know, not have that. Oh, actually, we should do these ones. So this is the just the dark blue, blank D12s with the dark blue. Those going. These are looking pretty good. I think those will work out fine. My mask does not feel like it's sitting right. That's unfortunate. Alright, let's get our I think we'll do the dirt ones here. Get them all done and out of the way. Get the cat hair out of there. But get these lids on. Oh man. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go clean dice after this. But I don't know, maybe I'll take a break first. I might go have like a nice cup of tea. I think I might go have a nice cup of tea after this. That sounds nice. I've gotten quite a bit of stuff done today. I did a lot of sanding earlier. Quite a bit of sanding. Which is good. I feel like that's my that's where I get like held up on things, is sanding. Just because sanding is just kind of boring. It's kind of boring to do the sanding, I'll be honest here. That's the least interesting part. I don't know. Maybe I'll stream sanding dice at some point. You guys can see just how exciting it is. Alright, got a few more things here with lids. This one still has a whole bunch of bubbles. So let's try and get some of these other ones, I think, first. Here's the 2D4s with the gold. I think these ones, the lids can go on. They're looking pretty good. There's this one as well. Yeah, I hope these turn out. Yeah, the D20, like I said, for this is a commission, so I'm gonna pull that out tomorrow and send some photos to that person. But I don't know. I think that this is gonna look pretty. I'm hopeful. Fingers are crossed. My fingers are crossed. Ah, yes. Here's the D20. It's looking pretty good. Let's press the top one more time. I'll get the lid on here, but I think it's looking like it'll be just fine. That's our D20. Like I said, I don't want to press down, but I want to make sure that the lid is in the right spot. So I'll probably put something on top of this one just to kind of hold everything in place. And make sure that there's a little bit of weight on there so that things do fall into the right place. Alrighty, so these ones, these are the little mushroom pendants. I'm gonna stick those kind of in between some stuff to hold them upright. That's how I make sure that they don't fall over in the while I'm trying to put them into the pressure pot. So let's do that. I'm gonna wedge them in here a bit. Do that all the way around here. Alright, cool. So we've got those wedged in there. We'll get our last few things going here. So we've got our dirt D20 here. Let's All these, there's a whole bunch of bubbles around the surface. Ah, yes, this is very, very thick. So this is at the end of its work time. Let's just get the lid on, and we'll hope for the best on this one. I'm not as worried about this. This is just kind of a leftover resin one, so it's not as big of a deal. So this one has some bubbles on the surface. Let's get those. Yeah, just trying to get those bubbles. Yeah, this is definitely at the end of its work time because it's holding its shape pretty well once the bubbles are popped, which is not necessarily a good thing. It means that it's very, very thick. It's not flowing as much as it was before. Alright, let's put that underneath something. Put that under a D6 there. Alright. Ah, yes, this is that random blank D6 that I want the mold from. This actually kind of works out. So if I have 4 molds for the blank D6s, I just used 3 of them to make a blank dirt block, and I have 1 blank dirt block, which means I'll have 4 of them. So I can do them in sets of 4, and it still works out just fine. Alright, I think everything else is, oh no, this one still has a lid to go on. This one might be a lost cause. This one has a whole bunch of air bubbles in it. We'll see how it goes. It's probably just going to have a whole bunch of air bubbles in it. I'll be real here. It's probably just going to have a whole bunch of air bubbles in it. Alright, but let's get all of these other things on here. So I've got some that I want at angles. Put them over here because I think that's going to be easier. Alright, and then these, I think I can put along the side here. But I do want to spritz these down because there's still like little air bubbles on the surface, and honestly they don't seem to pop as well if there's not like they're not full of resin, they're not like completed. So I want to spritz these down and make sure there's not big air bubbles on the surface. Alright, so let's see here. I think they're pretty good. Let me get these somewhere and move this over, I think. And then I put this here, and I put this here. Alright, I think that is everything. So, I'm going to call it for tonight, just so that I can go put these into the pressure pot. I think I probably need to fill my air compressor with air, and it's loud. But thank you guys for stopping by. I do stream every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and every Saturday at noon Pacific Standard Time. The plan is to make soap this Saturday. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I will hopefully see you guys then. If you want to chat before then, I do have a Discord, and the links for that are in my About section. And so if you want to see how this stuff turns out, that'll be the place to do it. But thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!